Hey everyone, before this episode of Still Loading begins, I wanted to announce that I am now the proud partner of the Bit by Bit Foundation. The Bit by Bit Foundation is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to fundraise and provide video games for children receiving inpatient care at children's hospitals. Check out their webpage at bitbybitfoundation.org and consider donating if you can. The gaming community can make what might be the scariest experience for a kid just a bit better, bit by bit. On this episode of Still Loading, we rank this shit. That's gross.
Rank.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of Still Loading. To finish off the month of February, right before Mario month kicks in, I brought a bunch of friends over, and we are going to talk Final Fantasy VII. We're going to do a ranking, but let's go around the table. Let's see. Well, there's no table in this room, but let's go around the circle here. Who do we have? So starting on my right...
What's up? My name is Andrew. I've been on before to talk about... What did we do? We did Metal Arms. We've done Donkey Kong 64.
And we've done the Sega Genesis episode.
And we've done the Sega episode, which was really good.
That was a really good episode.
That was
so there is actually two Andrews here. We're going to actually go Andrew and Andy Roo. So
Andy Roo.
That's you're going to be. Okay. So to the next one down the line is Andy Roo or another Andrew. So we'll just say Andy Roo for the sake of it.
Refer to me by my legal name, Kinsey, or my last.
I didn't know if you wanted. I didn't know if you wanted your last name on there.
I realized on on our podcast I said I have my name. Somebody says my full name, so it's it's out there. I'm not worried.
All right, so we have Kinsey, and then we have another Andrew. How are you doing, sir?
Fantastic. I've been on here before, so thanks for having me back.
Thank you for coming on. I think you've done Abadox, and I don't know if you did one. I think you might have done one other. I don't remember.
I know it was Abadox. That was the first one.
Abadox, he was the first one on the 40 for 40 series, and it was a really... I did a bunch of NES games.
Oh, yeah.
And then Jamie, welcome back, sir. The last one.
Hi, yeah, this is the older Whistler brother.
So Andy Roo, Andrew and Jamie are brothers. The other Andrew, Mr. Kinsey, is not related, but it's going to be a little. So we're going to go with Kinsey, Andrew, and Jamie. So here's what we're doing for this week's episode. We are going to rank the playable characters of Final Fantasy VII. I figured this would be a good time to do it because the remake is coming out relatively soon, within the next month or so, right?
Not
it did
soon
get pushed
enough.
back.
It got pushed back.
Till when?
Again,
Till April?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I have a countdown of all the important dates in my life on my phone. It's been
that on during your wedding countdown?
It's still there. It's 5 months and 14 days since my wedding day. 7 months and 2 days until Cyberpunk 2077. 1 month and 26 days until Final Fantasy VII.
There we go. Nice. So we're going to rank Final Fantasy VII playable characters, and I invited this panel of gentlemen on.
Experts.
Because, I figured, Jamie and Andy Roo, you're going to debate a lot and argue because you're brothers, and it's perfect.
They always do.
and actually, Kinsey, reason I invited you on, you are probably the most passionate Final Fantasy VII fan that I know.
Yes, I'm a scrub that thinks it's the best one. So,
well, I mean, it is the best one. I played it through 3 times already. It's amazing.
Okay, I for some reason thought you were in the camp of like Final Fantasy VII was overrated.
All right, well, I mean, it's really good.
Yeah,
and
I think. Do you like 6 more?
I like 3. Well, 6, 3. Sure. Yeah. I like 6, 3. I like 2, and I like 1. I like the old stuff. But 7 is like the point where I play that game, and then everything else afterwards is just terrible.
Trying to
which we've already had a whole debate all off mic on the message chain for this about how great I think Final Fantasy 8 and 9 are. You kind of like 9, Andrew.
9 was a great game. 8 was absolute rubbish.
I literally got 20 minutes into 8 and was like, no.
See, I love it. I love it, but it has a lot of problems.
You got 20 minutes into an hour and a half tutorial, and that's what you did.
Right, yeah. You're not wrong. Like, I love that game. There's a lot of fucking problems with that game.
No, sure.
So here's the way this ranking is going to work. We're going to rank. There's 9 playable characters total. We are going to rank them from our least favorite to our most favorite. And the way it works, just for the audience, I know I've explained it to you guys, we are going to all list our least favorite, and we can only talk about a character once it has been named by all of us. So let's say 3 of us put the same character for our number 9 position, but the 4th one does something different. that is a no discussion round because not one character has been mentioned by all four of us. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, when Andrew obviously picks a character that is terrible for as his like number 3, and it's my number 9. When he gets to number 3, can I spend my next 3 rounds explaining why he's terrible?
Well,
and that's a bad choice.
Once that discussion round goes, then you can spend that discussion round explaining how terrible his choice is.
Perfect.
So, are you guys ready to start this?
Absolutely.
I'm so done.
I actually got a list right here.
Wonderful.
So, Kinsey's wife is also here hanging out in the background. So let Driana, actually, have you been on before? Well, you were on the Donkey Kong 64 episode,
Yeah,
I think.
I think so. Or in the manuals when you were.
And you are going to be on an upcoming episode for the undisclosed project that I have coming.
Oh, spoiler! Yeah, we did the dramatic readings of some of the.
Yeah, I forgot. You guys did the drum.
Barbie.
So the reason that she's not on the proverbial table is because she's only seen Advent Children and not
And
played the
I've only
game.
Played Dirge of Cerberus.
Yeah. So.
You like Dirge of Cerberus,
is
Jamie,
a
right?
fantastic game.
Yeah,
My
Jamie
wife
really
actually
loves-
watched me play that entire game from start to finish,
Oh,
and
wow.
then she asked me to play it again because she enjoyed watching it. I was like,
Probably
no.
15 if that counts. But
I liked 15 a lot, actually.
15 is great.
You,
It's different,
I thought you
but
didn't
it's
like it
great.
though.
I mean, I beat it.
Yeah, that's
Counts, I
exactly
guess.
it. You beat the game, and the only thing enjoyable about that game was listening to the other Final Fantasy music while you drove around pointlessly.
That was
Fair.
awesome. I liked 15, but anyway, so all right, we are going to jump into this. We're actually going to just go. We'll go clockwise the way I actually announced all you guys. Well, I guess that's counterclockwise
For all our audio listeners.
Yeah, but like it matters to them. But all right, so Kinsey, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Andrew, then Jamie, and then we'll end with me, and that'll be kind of the round. So
Okay.
I'm going to be disappointed if 8 and 9 is the same.
I'm
for
pretty
everybody.
sure unanimous
Yeah,
is number
probably
9.
is.
So maybe you might be surprised with mine, but we'll see. So
Don't disappoint
Kinsey,
me.
what is your number 9, your least favorite Final Fantasy VII character?
Well, probably surprising nobody, but it is Kate Sith.
All right. So Andrew, what is yours?
Yep. Great minds think alike. Kate Sith.
It's an Andrew thing.
It doesn't seem right.
Jamie?
I also enjoy Kate Sith. The only thing we're going to agree on.
You
is that is that your
No,
number?
I
is
just
that
do
your
not.
number-
I dislike Kate Sith. The only thing we're going to agree on this entire time is our 8 and 9 positions. The only reason Kate Sith is terrible because 1, it's a terrible character, and 2, it comes in like halfway through the first disc, and it's a pointless character that you never actually.
So
see
wait,
the
is it
person
safe to assume
controlling
that
it.
yours is Kate Sith? Your
Kate
number?
Sith is number 9. It's terrible.
And what do you know? My number 9 is also Kate Sith. I was
Right.
actually surprised because I thought some other people were going to put a different character for number 9.
Nope.
So
Really?
let's talk about Kate Sith then. So overall, we all agree Kate Sith is the biggest piece of trash in Final Fantasy VII. So let's discuss. All 4 of us have mentioned Kate Sith. So why does she suck? What
You mean
is
that
it
robot
they?
thing?
They?
It's
Yeah.
an it.
It's
Yeah.
a kid. It's a
So-
robot.
Yeah.
Big plot twist and spoiler for everyone. I don't think I should have to say that for a 20-something year old game, and a game that's been like covered by so many different podcasts and different places.
Sure.
But so Kate Sith is awful. She is. I always thought of her as a she, and I don't know why. It's actually a guy controlling a robot, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a guy controlling a robot cat controlling a stuffed Moogle.
Yeah, a really big fat stuffed Moogle.
Yeah.
And that's why it's terrible.
It is so bad. And like the fact that he betrays you midway through the like disc 1, I think.
Yeah.
Is just it's like icing on the cake. He comes out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, you look interesting," and just starts
yeah.
talking to you. I remember when I was first playing it, I was so confused as to why what is this thing? Why is it talking to me?
Yeah. Because you meet him in the casino, right?
Golden
Yeah, in the
saucer.
Golden
Saucer.
Saucer.
And he's reading your fortune. And then he just says, "You know what? Now we're going to join your party now."
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
what's this
What?
throwaway mascot character? It's like, oh, wait, he's important? It's important?
So I mean, surprisingly enough, Kate Sith does play an important part because it's an awful character. No,
you're right. Yeah, it does.
The doll is the thing that grabs the black materia,
Right, when the
and gets
temple is-
and the temple gets shrunken. So
Yeah.
the body is the thing that stays behind, and it reminds me. How many of you guys have seen Muppet Treasure Island? This is a super.
Not in 1,000 years. Never.
So, do you remember Sweetums, the big like giant Muppet thing? That's everyone thinks it's a bad guy for the entirety of the movie, and at the very end, he like kills some of the pirates with a giant tree trunk, like swings a whole tree trunk. And he's like, oh, wait, I thought you were a bad guy. He's like, what? I love you guys. That reminds me of that scene is like at the very end, Keith is like, yeah, I'll do this. I love you guys. I'm like, this bitch fucking betrayed us.
About?
Like, like, it's such a weird, it doesn't seem natural that all of a sudden, because you find out that Kate Sith, the person controlling Kate Sith, is a Shinra employee.
Exec, yeah. Or not
It's just-
exec, but
No,
Employee.
Reeves is a
It's
worker.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Reeves, one of the Turks, right?
yeah.
That's what I forgot. I forgot Kate Sith is one of the Turks.
Yeah. Essentially.
Holy shit. I forgot about that.
Yeah. That's why when the whole betrayal happened, I was like, okay, cool. I have a reason to hate this character.
Like before,
or I'm justified
legit
in hating this
reason.
character. Yeah.
it's not a good design.
Yeah.
Not-
That's my thing was like, I don't like the design. Like every Final Fantasy has to, most of them have to have the weird non-human character, and you think it's going to be Red 13 in this one, and then this guy shows up, and you're like, wow, okay, they really upped
This,
the.
this is a strange one.
Yeah, it's not a great design. It's confusing. It's not explained.
The limit
how-
break is crap.
the limit break
Yeah,
sucks.
what-
So he can
so
straight
mechan-
up just murder you sometimes. Like
Right.
there's a chance. To
So
just
what
killing
is
your own
Kate
party.
Smith's limit break? Because I've never even used it.
It's
I
like a
hated her
dice-
so
it's
much.
three
I
dice.
didn't even use
and
it.
then the higher the numbers, the higher the damage. So if you get all sixes, it's an instant kill against anything. But it's
Even
super
bosses?
rare.
Yeah, anything. Like
Yeah.
you can
Really?
kill the
Yeah,
weapons, like a ruby and whatever.
Right, but
Never
like it's
weapon
just
with it.
it doesn't. It's just stupid because if it doesn't kill it, which it never will, then it doesn't deal any damage.
Yeah.
and you get him, and he starts off with the crappiest materia, like the hypnosis materia.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and the transform or something like that, so we can turn things
Into frogs?
Yeah, it's the crappiest materia.
I always found Transform as one of the worst magic types in almost every Final Fantasy
is.
game.
Usually, yeah.
Just I never found any use for it ever.
No, it's
status effects are usually just junk in that game.
sound effects are there for you, not for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, for to hurt you, not to help you.
Yep.
Though for all the game that you all hate, Final Fantasy VIII, you can junction spells to your attack, so you can put enemies to sleep, and you have like a 75% chance to do it on every single attack.
That's
If you
nice.
junction sleep to it, or silence, or some other status
What
effect.
I'm hearing is that I've got to be hit by sleep or any other status effect 100 times before I have the ability to do
No,
it.
you only have to draw it
100 times.
20 to 100 times.
Well, when the inevitable HD remake of that comes out, I will play it, but not a day sooner.
I'll
all
buy
right.
it to snap the
So
disc.
let's move on to our number 8. So Kinsey, what is your number 8 character?
All right. If anyone knows me, and I know the room does, this is going to be a major shock. I always go for the ninja characters and everything. So Yuffie is actually my number 8.
Okay.
I sort of dislike Yuffie, the ninja character.
What about you, Andrew?
So I think I'm gonna get some flack for this, but my number 8 is actually Aerith.
Oh, wow. That's actually the first shock for me on this one.
Did not care for her.
Okay, so Jamie, you're up.
No, it's definitely Yuffie. Like you can get.
Wow.
Yeah, I won't argue that. But
Well, we can't
We'll get
discuss
there.
we're not
mine.
discussing that yet. But yeah,
We'll get
Yuffie.
there.
Mine
number
is
eight.
also Yuffie. This is a
Oh.
no discussion round.
Oh,
Yuffie is
okay.
my number 8.
All right,
so,
so,
we
let's
have
all just
five
sit here
Yuffies.
silently for a
Look at
moment and
that.
stare at Andrew.
as to why
okay.
Aerith
Come
was
on
so
now.
low.
I'm actually really surprised.
I will talk about why I dislike Yuffie.
We'll get there when you guys realize how terrible she is. We'll have that discussion.
So number 7, Andrew, what is your number 7? Or sorry, Kinsey,
yeah,
what
I
is
was
your
gonna
number
say,
7? Sorry.
My number 7 is Vincent.
Vincent, okay.
I'm gonna have
Andrew?
some words.
I know.
So this is about the point where I start liking most characters, so this was hard. I actually liked Sid least.
Oh man, we're gonna have some
Ooh.
words.
Right? Right?
This is surprising. Yuffie
Yeah.
is this high on your list. All right.
I will say
absolutely.
before we get into the discussion for him, I did have Sid a lot lower before I started to workshop it a little more, and he gradually like started to climb the ranks.
I'm gonna.
I did
later
like
on.
Sid.
I will tell you why he is fantastic, and you are both wrong.
Don't get me wrong. I liked him,
We're
but
not-
just I like the others more.
Fair enough.
No, he ended up pretty high for me actually.
All right, Jamie, what is your number 7?
I'm going to upset my brother with this one, and I fully intended to do this, but I thought Red 13 was a terrible character. He is my number 7.
Boo.
Okay, and then my number 7 is Aerith Gainsborough. Aerith. So we have.
Okay.
So here's where we're at so far, just for the listeners. All right. We have Kate's already knocked off the board because she's trash. He, she, it is trash.
That's right.
Yuffie has 3 votes. Aerith has 2. Sid, Vincent, and Red are all at 1. So there are 3 characters that have not been even mentioned so far. So let's move on to rounds. That's 2 no discussion rounds. We could end up with a triple discussion round at this rate.
I feel like we're going to.
Oh yeah.
So number 6, Kinsey, what is your number 6?
Red 13 is in number 6 for me.
That is 2 for Red 13. All right, Andrew?
So this was hard for me, but I have to agree. Red 13
Oh wow, look at you.
That is
So sorry
3
to
for
hear
Red
that.
broke
13.
my
You- I
heart.
know, you love
broke
him.
my heart.
You love him. All
That
right,
is
so
3 for Red 13. Jamie, what's yours?
my number 6 is Aerith. Yep,
That is 3
absolutely.
for Aerith as well.
Lower on the
And
list.
believe it or not, this is a discussion round because my number 6 is Red 13.
Oh, dang. Okay.
So, all right. So, why? So, this is surprising because we actually went 2 full rounds with no discussion on this. So, Red 13 is the only one on this one. So, I guess to start out, who put in lowest was Jamie. So, why do you dislike Red 13? I'm surprised both you guys had such a exasperated
Yeah.
reaction. It's like, how could you put him so you're one above him?
I know.
It's not like it's that much
No, I
better.
didn't. I was.
It broke my heart.
Me too. Me too.
He's cool. Like his design is awesome. He looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like his attack is awesome. His first limit break is fantastic, where it ups everybody's attack power. Fantastic. But I just couldn't see a lion wolf creature like that using materia and taking him seriously in big boss battles.
Where does he put the materia?
Exactly. Where does he
Where
put
was
it?
he keeping it?
I don't know. He just wasn't that great
I don't know.
to me.
His
Like
teeth?
his limit breaks were okay. But I just he was so meh to me. He just had speed. That's it. He was a
I
little bit faster.
sympathized with him as his story, but yeah, it was weird that he could use materia as a lion. But
No, his story was solid.
Yeah,
It was
oh
a great
my
story.
God,
What you got him back
Exactly.
when you finally get it.
Yeah, exactly.
And
The only problem is that except halfway through disc 1, his story's done. And
Yeah,
then he's
exactly.
just there the
That's the
entire
thing.
rest of the game.
That was the worst part about that character. He had fantastic character design. I really liked his moves, but they did not give him the attention he deserved.
No.
yeah,
but he is the last character you see in the entire game.
that's true.
After the credits, there's a post-credit scene where you see him and his children running and seeing the ruins of Midgar.
That's why I
Let's think
loved
about
how Advent Children opened with that scene, in amazing graphics, 20 years later. I was
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool.
oh, full circle. And then they give him one line in the movie. It's literally one line.
What is his one line? I don't remember.
There are still children that have the stigma. That's it. It's the very end.
I forget the whole plot. There's some disease going around or something like that.
The stigma.
Yeah.
Stigma. That's what it's called.
Geostigma.
That's what. Holy shit! I haven't seen that movie in ages.
Oh, it's so good.
So
Let's
wait,
watch it right now.
you seemed like you had something more to say about a story. You kind of rolled your eyes a little bit. So what do you dislike about Red's story, or do you agree with what he was saying, where it just ends too soon?
Yeah, that was it. That was it exactly. Once you finally get to his story, I like how mysterious he is. When you first meet him, he's in that tank. He's an experiment. You're like, whoa, what is this crazy monster thing that I'm going to have to fight? And then he's your friend. And then you don't really know anything about him. And then the story happens, and it's that really good, his father or whatever died saving the village or something.
Petrified. It was
Petrified.
it was
And the statue of the
Yes. It was
so
the first
sick.
real emotional part of the
Yeah.
game.
Absolutely
Doesn't it ha- isn't it,
beautiful
like,
cinematics.
filled with arrows and swords and
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got arrows all in his back and
Yep.
legs. I'm pretty
I
sure.
love that.
That
so
was good.
When you finally get the story, you're like, yes, this is it. I really like the musical themes and stuff. And
Cosmo Canyon has some
Yeah.
great music in
yeah,
that.
and
in
it's all
that
very
area.
Absolutely.
like Native American sounding, and I like the whole aesthetic of that.
It's also the first time the game gets hard. That cave.
That
That's the
cave was
first time the
brutal.
game gets
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, but yeah, so you're like, yeah, I'm invested now, and then it's over, and then he's not important.
They
And then
never
he's all
touch him
with you.
again.
I mean,
Yep.
he had the right idea. He was all like, you know what? I'm going to break from the party. I'm going to stay here and protect Cosmo Canyon. And then his grandpa's like, nah, go. And I was like, nah, stay.
Yeah. It's we get it. We're invested with this character, so you want to continue the journey with them. But it just makes so much more sense for the character to pick up his father's mantle or whatever. And I would have been sad that if he left, but he.
But
would have been
also, I've
fulfilling
got
his-
8 other characters to pick from in a 3-party game.
Yeah. That's another issue entirely.
I would say
Yeah.
in general, probably one of Final Seven's biggest faults is that they have so many playable characters and you can only control 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I love Final Seven. I mean, we all do, but yeah, because I guess you're right. The reason I ranked him lower is that my list is at number 6 is where or the characters I start to really like.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
the
like
ones
5.
below, which is kind of surprising. Like Aerith is technically below the list of characters that I like, quote unquote, like. But like Red is where the character list that I'm like, yeah, I like these guys, and they're not quite my favorite. Like Red's definitely not my favorite, but I put a couple others higher.
Yeah, I like them all. Like, don't except for Kate Sith. Like,
Yeah.
Seven has like one of my favorite casts of like any Final Fantasy game, because there's always like a bunch of forgettable characters, but this one's always, maybe because of how iconic the game has become, it's always like you're just looking at that cast and you're like, what a solid, except for Kate Sith, what a solid band of
But even then, like if you think of some other Final Fantasy games, you're like, you forget some of the characters because they're so forgettable. At least you remember the shitty characters because they're so shitty. You can't forget about them.
And like it's weird that we're mentioning Red 13 second out of all of our discussion rounds. Like right now our talking order is Kate Sith and then Red 13.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Isn't
Yeah,
that
that makes sense.
wild
There's
to
a
think
big
about?
jump there, though.
And it's like there is a huge difference between the
absolutely.
quality of characters between
Yeah.
those two.
Wow, how specious. We got rid of the 2 non-human characters first.
I don't want to say we're better, but
But even the fact that like Red was a science experiment, he was taken from his home, and he was just an animal. He didn't have like sentient thought or anything
That's
like
right.
that. And he was experimented on by Hojo, and then he becomes like conscious. He is self-aware, and he can speak and do all this other stuff. And then he goes back and he remembers everything that happened with his father and hates his father for what he thought his father abandoned, him and his mother.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he saved them all. It's a beautiful storyline, especially when he sees that statue of his petrified father. The like a single tear rolls down. It's so anime and so cheesy, but it
So
works
feelsy.
so well. Like it gets you in it's the right way to do something cheesy. Like that's really cheesy, but it works in the situation so well.
I can't wait for the episode 5 or 6 of the
remake.
remake
Yeah,
to get to that stuff.
I'm
Like,
so annoyed that they're doing that, but
I am too, but
they
like,
haven't had enough time to develop the game. They need a little longer.
it's only been at least a decade. I do want to say last thing about Red 13, worst limit breaks. I think.
Really?
Most boring anyway. Like
Unoriginal.
very
uninspired.
unoriginal. They're all kind of the same thing. I know there's only so much you can do with like,
Sure.
the character model.
Yeah.
But like,
I'll say his first one wasn't bad. I like the attack up one. The
I
attack
like
up is
what
great
it
because the way I
does.
build my
yeah.
characters. But
Yeah.
like that's it. Yeah. Then
I like
after
what
that,
it
it's
does,
terrible.
but like,
I
I don't
know
know.
the second
I'm a
one,
sucker for like the fancy, crazy animations and
sure.
stuff, and he just kind of runs up and is like, slash, bite. Okay.
I
bye.
do like his animation for his basic attack, how he does like 3 flips and then he crunches down
Oh,
on it. I
yeah.
mean, it's really satisfying every time he hits
It's more
them.
satisfying than the actual limit break, though.
Yeah.
or the damage output,
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say?
or the real damage output. He does.
All right, so we're moving on to our number 5 on the list. So Kinsey, you are up first.
R.I.P. as I, cross myself. Aerith is number 5 for me.
Oh, so we at least talking about Aerith this round. That is the number 5 for Kinsey. All right, Andy and Andrew. I could see you
thank
hate
you.
that.
All right. So my number 5 is actually Vincent.
Vincent. Okay,
Okay.
that is
We
2.
have some words.
That is 2 for Vincent. All right, Jamie.
Tifa.
Tifa. All right, we might not get to her for a little bit.
No,
I
we
bet you
won't.
guys won't.
No, we won't.
That is a. All right, and for me, my number 5 is Sid.
Okay.
So that is a
Understandable.
no discussion. Oh no, sorry, we're doing
Aerith.
Aerith.
Say Aerith,
Yeah, we're
yeah.
talking Aerith. All right, so let's talk Aerith.
Well, Kinsey, I hope you're happy. We finally hit a human.
Yeah. It's
Ruled
about
out.
time.
Well, technically, Kate Sith is a human, so we're not specious. Kate Sith is being controlled by a human.
Yeah, but he does show like sentience when it's like, I'm your friend. I'm gonna like crush myself to get this thing.
But it's being controlled by a human.
But
Oh,
But
no,
is he
no,
though? Because-
let's talk about that for a minute. Is it really that big a deal that a robot character that was easily replaced got crushed by sacrificing
well, that's
himself?
the point. Well, I think but it was something to like directly go against Shinra. So like, was it
Yeah.
rebelling against his?
I thought
Reeves,
I thought Reeves was rebelling against Shinra, and because later on in the game, Kate Sith disappears because Reeves gets like pulled away from the console. I remember there's a scene where like he literally he's saying, "Oh, they're coming in here, they're coming to get me," or something along those lines. He gets taken. And he ends up fighting his way out and then controlling another robot instead of just coming out and helping himself, which would be more useful than a fucking puppet, right? But
that everyone hates.
but so with Aerith, I can tell you why I marked her down. So I had her listed as my number 7. So she was right above for me. So my number 9 was Kate Sith. My number 8 was Yuffie. I'm still amazed Yuffie hasn't been talked about yet.
Yeah.
My number 7 is Aerith. And I had her so low because she's definitely one of the most important characters. So I couldn't put her on the bottom, but I find her really obnoxious.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I find her
cuts
really.
deep.
I agree.
That cuts deep.
She's really, and I
I'm
don't.
sorry, Cole. Do you not like strong, independent women?
Oh, you wait to see my. You just wait. You just
Okay,
wait.
all right, sure.
But I would. But the thing is, like Aerith to me isn't. I don't know. She's definitely strong and independent, but it's just the way she does it is just like she. I feel like she bullies people into what she wants to do.
Really?
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah,
I feel
no, I
like
could
she
see
bullied
that.
Cloud into dating her.
If you
Not-
pick that route.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, like, the thing is, it's not completely random because you only really go on one date. It's either with Tifa, Barrett, which is a surprise, or
Barrett's is
Aerith.
hilarious.
I've never been able to get Barrett's. I forget what you have to do to.
No,
there's-
you just
there's-
have to pick them. That's it.
Yeah,
you,
don't you
you
just
just
pick
walk
who it
into a
is?
character.
no, they come to your room. That's what happens. It's not. You don't get to choose.
Are you talking about at Golden Saucer? or
Yeah,
at the-
Gold Saucer.
Ah,
you don't get
definitely
to.
you definitely get to pick for the golden
Yeah.
saucer. Yeah, you get to walk
No,
up.
not that I remember.
I remember.
I remember.
I mean,
don't-
Jamie's
We
played it like
remember.
3 times. So
I've played
only
it like
played it
4 or
once.
5.
Yeah, you get to pick.
Yeah, I've played the game a lot.
You should play it again.
because it's like it's kind of random. Like I'm pretty sure they knock on your door and they say, "Let's go somewhere."
I think that's 8.
No,
Okay,
I don't.
I honestly don't remember.
I'll believe you.
But
Anyway, the
I can,
Barrett
if listeners, if you remember, let me know if I'm wrong or not. Because I probably am. Let's be real.
Send
But
Josh or Jamie a very hateful text message. Their numbers are.
Here we are. 111 11
so I don't know. Aerith just bothered me because I didn't mind like her abilities. I like the fact that a lot of her limit breaks were healing spells. Like she was essentially like the healer.
She was a
She was a
Great
white
healer.
mage.
She-
That's why she was
white
my
mage.
number 8. I don't need support. I need more damage.
I will agree. Never support more damage always.
She was so low on my list because I don't like that archetype. Like the hippie, we have to save the world.
She's not like the hippie who has to save
She's
the
kind
world.
of a hippie.
All right.
I don't know.
she's
She
straight up
dresses.
hippie.
She doesn't dress like.
Isn't
a
she
hippie.
like the last of a gypsy or something?
No, she's
Oh.
last of the ancients.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
the
There you
last
go.
of the ancients.
Yeah, the last of a gypsy.
But she.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think she's a hippie or anything like that. She seems pretty like straight laced overall. She's a flirt, but she's not. Like,
her house is in the middle of a flower patch.
that wasn't her choice. She was found by her.
That plays
I
right
know.
into the storyline, though. If now
It
she didn't, if that didn't
does.
play in the storyline, and she had a house full of flowers that sold flowers, it was a flower girl,
the flower girl.
right? Then I could see you saying that, but it plays so deep into the story that it has to. Because if she didn't, it wouldn't make sense if she didn't care. Like you're doing this, she doesn't really care about it, but she's doing it.
I didn't mind that at all.
Yeah.
I have her somewhat low. Like I have her at 5. I just think she isn't important until like she has to be important. It's
and
just
that's
like,
fine
I think,
because
yeah,
that's
her-
great into her story. But the reason I list her so low is because she's great and I like her, but then she's gone. And then it's like, okay, well, look at all these other characters
And
that
it-
I've
Right.
spent so much more time playing with.
and it's
And
weird because they give you her ultimate weapon, which is good. It makes sense why they do it.
Sure.
'Cause she's about to die.
Yeah.
But then it feels like such a waste because they just give her. You get this ultimate weapon, which is vastly better than anything you've gotten prior to that, and then
It's a
and
bigger
then she's
stick.
gone. Mm-hmm. It just and even this might be a little blasphemous for me to say. I think her death scene. Spoiler alert. Her death scene. Is not that impactful. Like I think maybe
dare
at the
you.
time it was, but like I think it also probably didn't help. It was spoiled for me by someone else. Like
Well,
I knew what
well,
happened.
that'll do
It
it.
was
If you-
already well
If you
known.
experienced it without being told, it was like, what? Okay, how are we
Yeah.
going to res her? What's going on?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
did she
yeah.
come back? Why is this happening?
I watched Dragon Ball Z. They can get the Dragon Ball.
That's right. That's right.
There's no
we got to
stakes,
assemble the materia.
yeah. I actually, I did experience her death without having it ruined, and after the dust settled, and I don't remember if it was like after I finished the game or maybe it was just later, but I kind of felt like I was manipulated a little bit. Like maybe
Really?
her death was like a little bit manipulative because again, like I didn't care about her until she died, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm
Yep.
gonna miss her so
Aw.
much. That was
Yep.
so hard."
That was
Guys,
the- I
I
think
liked her
that-
the whole time. That when the very first playthrough, I probably if I had only played this game once, I probably would have ranked her higher on my list because I liked her. I liked her character. I liked her personality. I just liked her overall. Like, I don't know. I liked her
She
overall.
was fine.
Yeah, okay.
I think
For
that-
the
that
only
was the thing,
time I
like,
I
cared
think
about
that's why
her was
I
when
had
she
her where
died.
she's at, because like I don't dislike Aerith. I think she's like, when I say I think she's like a little annoying, it's not that I think she's like a bad person or anything like that. It's just that it's the way she tries to get what she wants. I don't necessarily like that. I don't think, I find it kind of like, I feel like she kind of badgers people into doing. I don't want to say like,
I'll disagree. I don't think she badgers people. I think that if you look at Cloud as a character, without knowing his past, he's a very uninitiated person. He doesn't take his own charge. But if you look at somebody like Aerith,
who does
she-
take herself, who
she-
does take
she's
charge.
her own independent woman, but she's not like trying to push people around. She's trying to push him to be better. She's trying to experience him
Okay.
into doing things. And like, hey, let's go on this ride in the Golden Saucer. I want to do this, and I want you to come with me. Like, if you were a person and you were interested in another person, you'd say, hey, I want to do this thing with you. And you would do that thing with them.
Cloud, if he was interested in someone, wouldn't do anything.
He
at
wouldn't
all,
do anything
so-
for anybody except for money. That's it. I mean, so she's pushing him to be a better person, and that's reflected in later on in the game when he goes into like his memory loss and he thinks about her and grieves because she did push him to be a better person, and that's why I think I liked her so much, because the two of them were really good.
You know what? You've changed my mind. I still would keep her at a 7 because I
Me
like
too.
I like other characters more. But I don't know. She just kind of felt annoying to me. I shouldn't say always, but she had tinges of it. I shouldn't say. I think the way I'm making it sound is that I thought she was annoying the entire time. She wasn't. I just felt she just bothered me a little bit. She just seemed a little obnoxious. But I do agree with your point that she pushed Cloud to be a better person, and it also she pushed the story a lot farther than it. Well, not than it should have gone. She's the one that pushed the story in the beginning of the game,
Right.
And I also agree with you, Kinsey, that her death felt kind of like I didn't care that much about her, and then all of a sudden she died. I went, oh, okay. I mean, granted, I knew it was coming, but like even so, the whole time up there, I was fine.
Well,
she's fine.
If you know that she dies,
Yeah.
I
right?
think
And
that
then
takes
if you
all
know
of it away.
it takes
That
it away,
does.
and it's like, well, I'm not going to put you in my party. Forget you. And you're like, you
I
don't
level
play
up
with
this
her.
character.
Yeah, exactly.
Final 7 was nice though because you didn't have to level up your characters; it would do it for you.
Kind of. They'd still lag behind hard.
It would still
Yeah.
lag behind.
The
but
part of the game where you would, spoiler, lose Cloud for a little bit was hard. It's like, oh, well, shit, all these people are under leveled. Who are you?
Well, that
gonna
was
carry the team
great
now.
for me because I mean we'll get into this way later. But
Our alternates, alternate number 4 position.
no. But part of why Aerith was so low for me was because I'm a Tifa stan, so which we'll get into
we'll get
that.
to that.
We'll get there.
All right.
But no, I think it's a good thing. I agree. I do think I sounded super harsh saying I found her obnoxious.
Yeah, I don't remember her being.
I don't know.
Or,
She just felt pushy to me. I don't know. And not
so weird.
every character was like that. It was just
yeah, I've only
was
played
just
it
her.
once, but I just remember her being like, oh yes,
you
everything's-
really only played Final 7 once.
Yeah, I know, and it's one of
For
my.
for someone that like obsesses over it as much as you've only played it once. I played it like
Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah.
Maybe not that many. Like at least 4 though. I've definitely beaten it at least 4 times.
If my backlog wasn't so long, because I'm constantly like, ooh, should I play?
Oh, you
Final
can't
Fantasy
repeat a
15
game. If you have such a backlog of
way
games,
too
you keep
many to
moving
beat.
forward.
That's the thing.
Absolutely.
Like, I want to play Nier Automata again. I want
I've
to play
heard that's really
Final
good.
Fantasy 15 again, but I'm like, I have to play so many things.
Oh, yeah.
So let's move on now. We're on to round 4. Surprisingly, we've only ever had single discussion rounds or no discussion rounds so far. We have not had a double or triple yet. So, number 4. So, Kinsey, what is your number 4?
Number 4 for me is the protagonist Kuraudo.
It's a little low for me. Just saying.
Wait, number 4, we're getting like the top half.
Yeah. I'm actually amazed. Well, we'll see at the end of this round. So, Andrew, what's yours?
So I actually have to agree with my fellow Andrew. Cloud is my number 4.
Okay. So, we have 2 clouds on this round. Jamie?
I'm going to go with Barrett.
Everyone
Racist.
has been
Number 4 is
mentioned
Barrett.
now. Every single one has been mentioned now. For me, my number 4 is... Where are you at? I totally am losing...
Where are you at? Where are you
My number 4 is actually also Barrett Wallace.
There you go.
Oh, come on now.
All right, so that was surprisingly a no discussion round. Where we're at, we've already talked about. So far it's been Kate Sith, Red 13, and then Aerith as our discussion order. We have 2 for Cloud, 1 for Tifa, 2 for Barrett, 3 for Yuffie. I'm still amazed Yuffie is still there.
Somebody's got Yuffie
Getting
real
down-
high.
This is the hill I will die on.
2 for Sid, and then 2 for Vincent. So let's move on to round 3. Kinsey?
Round 3 for me is Sid Highwind.
All right, that is 3 for Sid. Andrew?
For me, this is where Tifa and I part.
Oh, how dare you! This is where you and I part.
So Tifa is your number.
I'm excited to have that discussion.
Me too.
Be a little bit. So Jamie.
Oh, we're getting in our top threes, our
Yeah,
favorites
yeah,
here.
yeah.
So
Yep.
Sid is my top 3.
All right, that is a discussion round for Sid at least. That is
Nice.
Sid has been mentioned 4 times now, and then my number 3 is Vincent Valentine. So
At
we
least
have
somebody has a sense to score him higher.
So we have 3 for Vincent. So yeah, we're talking about Sid this round. So
Okay.
why does everyone like Sid?
Old man Sid, he's the best.
Oh my God, he
He's
was
All right, his
great.
personality is great. His fighting style was great. His weapons were great.
I
You
love
literally
his
just said
fighting
all of my
stance.
points in a row.
Yeah, exactly.
Same exact points.
Dude walks around like he's always smoking. He's got those badass spears. He's got his own ship. Like he's an awesome character.
I love not knowing that he was going to be a character the first time I played it because I'm like, oh, who's
Yeah,
Grandpa
you're right.
over here just demanding demanding this
Drink
and
the
that.
goddamn tea.
I think my favorite thing about Sid is his fighting stance.
Yeah.
It's because he crouches down and he holds his spear up above him like he's going to go like
Yeah.
And everybody knows
Jab
old people
that.
can't hold their hands above their heads.
And his storyline's actually pretty good too because he is a hard ass.
storyline's
Like he's
great.
very angry. He's the definition of a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And normally you could see like games maybe would just leave it at that, but they actually explain why he's so angry
Oh, his
and
story
why
was
he's
great.
specifically angry. Do you remember who his like? It's not really his maid or his wife, but it's
Sherry?
Sherry, that's her
Sherry.
name. I couldn't remember her name, but like she's what is she to him?
I thought that was his wife.
I think it was his wife. I feel like I want to say
Either
it's
that
his
or is
actually
it-
wife. They didn't really like, use the traditional like endearment terms or anything, or like they didn't really like go into it too much. But like they were definitely married. They definitely had feelings for each other.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, right.
I didn't think married, but definitely. I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
I
just-
thought they were
I
married.
feel like I want to say they
Okay.
were married. Yeah, no, his story was great. Going into space and everything, exploration,
Yeah,
being
that's right.
funded by an organization who cuts you off at the knees. Like he's got everything there to be resentful and make him a good character in your party. I don't know. His story was fantastic.
His I think why I ended up liking him so much was that his in the same way that Red 13's story was so good and so engaging while also having nothing to do with like the main plot. Like, and that's where you know they give a good story where it's like, I don't have to care about this because it's like it's not stopping me from beating the final boss and seeing those credits and moving on to something else. True. But I still care about it so much.
And Sid's story, especially in the flashback scene of how like you see what happened. So Sherry is his, I guess we'll just say wife for lack of a better term, because I didn't see that. Like I don't think they
Wife,
ever
scientist, engineer.
like she's an awesome character too. Like she feels so bad. Anyway, so what happens is Sid is trying to basically he's working for Shinra at one point in time and they're going to send a rocket into space. He's going to be the first man into space, right? Or the first man in their world at least into space. And and then Sherry is trying testing all these different levels and testing all these different things. And
well, not testing. She
No,
knew
sorry,
she knew
she's
there was
checking.
a problem and she was fixing a critical error.
that's what it was. And I forgot about
She was fixing a critical error because if that rocket had taken off, it
Sid
wouldn't
would
have
have
gone
died.
there. The rocket would have exploded. It would not have worked. And she feels guilty now because Sid loved her too much, the wife, to launch it because she was at the very base of the rocket. So if it had launched after the fix, she would have just gotten annihilated by the flames.
Yeah.
So he cancels the rocket. She survives, but the rocket starts to lift off before he cancels it. That's why it tilts to the side, never launches again. So he's angry at her, but he also loves her. And then she feels guilty for canceling his dreams. And that's the big dynamic.
And then later, like where you get to see him in the game is when they try to do the rocket again. Well, not where you get to see him. You eventually later on in the game get to launch that rocket. You go back and they have to relaunch the rocket due to now at this point all hell's breaking loose in the world and they want to launch rocket at the meteor coming into Earth that's being drawn in by Sephiroth. Spoiler alert once again.
What? No.
But I remember, I think Sid discovers the same fatal flaw that Sherry did and realizes that what she did saved his life, and then he no longer is.
I think he knew it. When you first do the flashbacks, he knew it, but they still had the same type of like testing and final things, but still got it off this time.
Yeah. So before, I'm sure anyone like big fans who are listening to this are clenching their buttholes super hard right now and are like hovering over the comments or over their keyboard to leave a comment. It's actually Shara.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Shara.
Sorry, everybody.
And
side characters don't
my
always
God,
get
yeah.
all the
You have
have
no
to-
idea how much vitriol I probably would have gotten for that.
Okay. They're all like just backspacing there. All right. I was about to cancel all my subscriptions. It says, I just wanted to look up to see what their relationship was, and they live together, but they're not married.
Aha!
Yeah, I definitely thought that they were married.
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong for thinking that just because they live together.
Well, they live
and-
with each other out of anger, I guess.
oh, absolutely. Welcome to marriage.
Well, that's what I thought.
It's the American dream.
So
Spite love.
Also, let's
Yeah.
turn this around from a storyline perspective. Sid had some of the best weapons as far as material
Yes!
slots goes.
Oh
he was
my
Well, he was
God.
the only other character besides Cloud to get the three.
yes, like his spear could hold so many
His
materia, and like the
spear.
junctions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the junction
yep,
ones.
yep.
And like he could just hold it. I don't know about you guys, but he was my caster every time.
Well, when your weapon has that many slots for material, you
Yeah.
kind of have to make him a caster.
Sure, absolutely.
And I like that because I believe the whole idea of the number of materia slots, they actually kind of determine the number based off the physical shape of the weapon a little bit. Since he has
Yeah,
a spear,
absolutely.
it can fit longer across it because the
I
spear
don't know
is
about
longer.
that.
no, yeah,
No,
absolutely.
that's- 'cause when
to
you-
a degree, if you look at
I
the
remember
weapons,
Tifa having some kind of gloves that could
Well,
arbitrarily hold like 7 pieces of
the
material.
end of
Every
the
single
game-
it's
The
the
Infinity
Infinity
Gauntlet?
Gauntlet.
Fair enough. Okay.
I was just about to say, she had two Infinity Gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
no, well, at the end of the game, everybody gets their
Yeah,
ultimate weapon or close to, and it has everything. But
I'm
like
just saying.
right away, even Sid's second weapon was the trident,
Mm-hmm.
and like that thing held like 6 or 7 slots right away. Like you just give him all of your summon materia, you jack up his magic skills, you take away all of his health, and you just have him cast spells left and right. He's your healer, he's your damage dealer. It's what his role is.
He's
the
your
entire
healer.
game.
He's your damage dealer.
Yeah.
He's Sid Highwind over here. Come on.
He sounds like that would be. I would love if Sid kind of turned it out like a shady, like gangster character, and he's just like, "I'm your healer, I'm your damage dealer, I'm Sid Highwind over here."
And you know Sid ain't no squealer.
No, Sid just in general. He was also. I remember when I first played it. He's the only other character that swears a lot.
Yeah,
Besides
he
Barrett.
did.
We'll
yeah,
get to
that's
Barrett,
true.
but like, yeah, besides Barrett, he swears a lot, and I was like, man, Sid's a badass. Look at all those. Look at all that gobbledygook on this.
I'm not allowed to read these words. Depending on how old you were when you played it.
Right.
That game always, like, I honestly wonder sometimes if he wasn't actually swearing, they just put random things in to make it look like they sweared more often. Like, was that just a localization choice? Like, this guy looks tough. Let's add some more swears in it.
Look at him. He's got a cigarette in his mouth all the time. Of course he's going to have a dirty mouth.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But Sid is just he's such a good character. And it's wild to me that he is the 4th person we're talking about on this list. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, we are going to talk about. We have 8 different names to list still between the next 2 rounds, right?
Well, now we're just holding on.
And there's still
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that we have not talked about, which means we're
This-
pretty much guaranteed a discussion. At least it has to be.
I think we are, yeah.
oh, we're
This is where the opinions are going to start getting heated.
right. This is
because
where we start
everybody's
determining who's
favorites.
right and who's wrong, and who's very right and who's very wrong.
Where we determine who's right and who's Jamie.
Yeah.
I-
That's the very
great
right.
thing right here. Yuffie has not been talked about, even though she was mentioned 3
Oh,
times in
don't
round
worry.
8.
That's my brother who doesn't know how to play games.
We will get to it.
We will
I
get- all right.
promise you.
Yeah, let's do this so I can
So,
start
all
yelling
right,
at my
any
brother.
other things to talk about with Sid? Any other final thoughts
His
on him?
story's great. His weapons are great. Like him as a character is great. Like
His
gameplay.
animations are super good.
Yeah, yeah.
I love.
Fun.
I have a big.
He's
soft
essentially
spot for-
the Dragoon of this.
I was,
Yeah.
that's where I was
Yeah.
going. Like I love Lancer type characters. Like I
Yep.
just started. I'm 14 and I'm playing a Lancer.
Nice.
And just the his crazy jumping into the sky animations, and just spiking downwards.
Oh,
like,
it's so
I
satisfying.
love it so much.
And I also like even his basic attack where it's almost like he's booping the enemies with his spear. He's like, boop,
jab.
but it's actually this deadly sound. All right, so round number 2. We are getting into our top 2 for everyone here. So, Kinsey, what is your number 2?
I got Barrett Wallace.
That is 3 for Barrett. All right.
So it's pretty much just me being the holdout, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Have I mentioned Barrett?
So not Yuffie.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I did.
Mentioned
He was at my number 4 along with Jamie. All right, so Andrew, what's your number 2?
This is where it gets difficult. This is where I say Yuffie.
You know what? At
I
least
got
it's not
scared
number
for a
1.
second.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not great, but it could be worse.
We'll have a discussion.
Yeah, I
gentlemen.
bet we will.
So we have Yuffie is the first to be discussed. All right, Jamie, yours.
Oh, it's Vincent, number 2, absolutely.
Vincent.
Tight number 1, actually.
That's
That was a
4
tough
for
choice.
Vincent. That's 4 for Vincent now.
4 for Yuffie.
And then my number 2 is Cloud.
Okay.
All right, well, there's so many things to say.
So there's 3 for Cloud, 2 for Tifa, 3 for Barrett, and now we are going to talk Yuffie and talk Vincent. So let's go. Since Yuffie was the first to bring up, why is she so fucking high?
I do love bashing Andrew. Let's go ahead.
We should talk about why we all hate her, and then Andrew
my
can talk
God.
about
Oh,
why he's wrong.
So
That's a better. No, yeah, go ahead.
I'm a little biased here. First and foremost, I find her absolutely adorable. Her character is
True.
adorable. Her personality adorable.
No.
And the giant shurikens, all of her weapons,
They look cool.
Like
Sure,
I will give you that.
she is
The
an
animation's
adorable
good.
ninja.
She's not
with
adorable.
She is
She's
adorable.
adorable.
And she has these awesome giant weapons. Like, I remember one of her weapons is an enormous shuriken that is roughly 3/4 the size of her body. And for some reason,
pretty
I
jacked.
find that fascinating. I
right.
don't remember her story too much. but
She
I
steals
remember I
all
liked
your
it.
fucking
She
material.
steals
Exactly.
everything from you.
That's why I liked her. She is
What?
fantastic. Yuffie
right.
is out for you.
That was the only side quest. Like, if you got robbed,
Yeah.
you could just
Yeah.
be like, all right, well, I'll start over. That's cool. I'll buy it all back.
I would love that if it wasn't such a pain to get it all back.
Yeah,
I
it
would-
is.
fantastic.
As a choice, a design choice, like yes, I love it. Like that's so different. Like it's
And
never.
she has a good story reason for doing it. I will give her that.
I don't even remember.
Her country is at war with Shinra. 'Cause
Oh,
she's from.
Wutan.
She's
You mean
from
her
Wuhan.
small little village?
it
in
was
that
a
island
village.
somewhere that's
It
Japan.
was a village.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it, and I know
Her
people do that.
story
So-
gets overshadowed because
It
Don Leon
does.
comes back, and that's just so
Yeah.
much more entertaining for me than her actual story.
Also, like she's completely optional.
Yeah,
Like her and Vincent
Yeah.
are really low
Yeah.
for me because you don't have to run into them.
but here's
Yeah.
the. Okay, I'll give it to you that Yuffie's animation is fun. I love her personality,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's great, like how you even go out getting her, the conversations and the
I
trying and
hate that,
failing.
but
I loved it. It was
I
it
hated that.
added a little
was
like
hate that so much.
fantastic.
and if you got lazy, you could just do it anytime, like right
Exact-
away
yep,
or
yep.
later in the game, or yeah.
I did it right away, which was
Same.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you're
I
like,
did it
oh,
right away
playable
as well.
character.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you want to play, and then you realize she's terrible, and then you hate her, but she's
hits,
great.
She hits way too many of the soft spot archetypes that I have.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I adore ninjas. I adore thieves, and like that's all she is. Like she
do
robs
too,
you, and she's
but
an awesome ninja.
We're thinking about it like gameplay. Gameplay, she's terrible.
put it-
Personality wise, and animation, she's fun. Like I tried her. I
took all
really
that
wanted
into
to.
consideration for me.
Yeah,
Like I
same.
can understand like having like loving a character and knowing that they're bad.
Yeah,
Like,
okay,
yeah.
that's true.
So why I hated her so much is because
Hate's a strong word.
no, I hate.
Why
like,
trouble? That's
she-
a long piece of paper in your hand.
She would have been below Kate Sith if it wasn't for the fact that Kate Sith is legitimately useless in in all of the game. In 90% of the story and in all of the gameplay. Yuffie can actually do damage and she actually has some benefits. The reason I dislike her though is because it's actually a pain in the ass to get her. She plays riddles with you, which is fine. And then you do all that work just to fucking get her, and then she steals all your materia afterwards. So it's you get
Andrew's like,
you
"That's
get
why I
dicked
like her."
over twice
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
by
god.
the same
Like-
character.
Oh, that's how
Fuck
she
her.
won my heart.
She stole it.
I would have done the exact same thing in her spot. Look at all these people with their
No.
awesome equipment. It's mine now.
I will say as much as like I find the fact that she steals all that stuff annoying, her character is kind of the character that is written for her is really fun. She's kind of like this playful, like goofy type of character, and I like the fact that even though it's annoying to get her, that if you guess the wrong thing, she steals something from you,
Yeah.
and then you have to once then it get and incentivize you to go back, be like, you know what, fuck her, I'm going to go get that back, and then you have to fight her again, and then you have to guess the right answers. I remember the first couple times, I think I failed twice on her, and I was so mad. I'm like, I'm gonna get my shit back, and so I think it's a good
I'm
incentive,
gonna be friends
even though
with
it's
you out
annoying.
of spite.
Exactly.
I am Naruto.
I'll tell you what, my favorite part about getting her was when you open up the menu screen, your inventory, and she would just disappear when you would close it out, and she would just be gone.
Oh,
Yeah, so you
awesome. I
had
don't
to
remember
keep
that.
your eyes on her and consistently talk to her. If you open your menu screen and close it, she'd be gone. She just disappeared.
I love that. I don't remember that at all.
I remember, now that you say it, I do remember that.
Yeah.
And in general, just
My heart.
Number one.
Only
I feel
you-
like I'm betraying her now because
Like-
we agree on so many things.
well, no.
Yeah, but she's still trash. This needs to be
She
highlighted.
was not that bad.
Okay,
Okay,
tell me
did you
this:
use her in your final three?
did you use her in the final battle?
Hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
There
Then
we
she's
go.
trash.
There we go.
Actually, no,
That's
I
like
might have.
60% of the cast, though. You're cutting out right there.
Yeah,
You only played
yeah.
3 characters.
Yes.
But if you're putting her at your number 2
Two.
and you don't use her in
Oh,
your final
that's
3,
I think I spoke too quick. I can't remember the third person. I can't remember my
You know why
entire
you
party.
can't remember who you took into the final battle?
Oh, why?
Because you never made it there.
that actually probably is right. I have the attention span
I know
of
you
like
do.
a goldfish.
no, it boggles my mind that she was so high. Because our talking order
Oh,
again.
no, now I remember it. I remember my 3-man team.
Oh, gee.
And it,
You just remembered it now?
I haven't played that game in like,
You've been thinking about these characters.
I've been
heard
thinking
something
about the
going on.
characters, not my
I think about,
party.
no. My party is
Oh.
the same as my favorites.
No. Well, actually, mine
My
is.
party is the same as my favorites.
So
I think mine was too now that I'm looking at
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely, because that's why they're
exactly.
your favorites. That's why you use them.
Yeah.
actually, believe it or not, my
Oh, no, it
top 3
wasn't.
are not
Mine
is
was.
not my party.
Mine wasn't either. No.
Mine was.
So
We should say our final party.
yeah, we'll
Oh,
say
yeah, yeah.
that.
So-
But
Well,
no,
once we hit
it's-
the first round, then
it's
it'll
worth
be my party.
it's worth mentioning that our talking order so far has been Kate Sith,
Correct.
Red 13, Aerith, Sid, Yuffie.
It really hurts to put Sid
And
so low.
Vincent.
It does.
Yo, no.
Sid is directly in the middle if you think about it,
All right,
or close to the middle.
All right.
5 would be directly the middle.
Then I can respect that.
Once you get past the last
Yuffie
two,
is our direct middle.
yeah.
Wow.
Once you get past the
Now
last
that's
two,
not
we
the
start
actual
hitting
average
favorites.
of like everything, because I will add it up. So like if whoever, like for example, our number 9, they would get 1 point each. So Kate Sith has 4 points because they were at the bottom of our list.
All right, fair enough. I like that.
Yuffie, technically that's 2, 4, 6, and then
Well, we can count numbers up at the end.
well, what's
We can do math later.
Yeah, math's hard.
14? Yuffie has 14 points because since Andrew put Yuffie up at number 2, that's
Probably
worth 8
mistakenly.
points.
You make this
Die
list while
on
you were
that
drunk?
hill.
That's why.
Usually.
I'll push you off
Yeah,
that
at
hill.
the very end, I'll cut out all the math in between, and I'll just give our total averages. But it's just wild to me to think that Yuffie is so high up. On it.
Hell yeah.
You know
Oh
what's
my
not so
God.
crazy is that Vincent is at least above the average. I love that character.
Yeah, I
He's
thought
my
he was
favorite.
going to be higher.
I
just-
He's
know.
not my number
We
1,
know.
but he is my favorite character. He is the best character. He's the coolest character. In
Oh,
that game.
100%.
I love.
because
no,
they're
let's,
just
let's,
Cerberus.
I love
let's,
that.
let's move into Vincent talk then. Like,
just
are we done
because
with
of Dirge of
Yuffie?
Cerberus.
I think so.
so.
The only thing I want to say about Yuffie is she has my least favorite design of all the characters.
What?
really.
Yeah, just
What?
aesthetically, like
Wow.
I don't.
You're not a fan of pixie cuts, are you?
I love.
Really? I don't like pixie
It was
cuts.
adorable.
I'm not a big
I'll go. We'll get talking about it.
I'll tell you what's up.
No, I'm not saying
You
it's
can
like,
overlook-
I'm just not a fan of it.
You can overlook it because the graphics are so terrible. You can barely see
That's
it.
fair. Yeah.
But there's like character art and stuff, and like all the Kitase art is like really good at it.
Well, I'll
Or
tell you what. I
Nomura.
only looked at the character art once when I flipped in the manual once, and then I never saw it again.
I just don't like the like giant weird sleeve thing that she
Oh,
has.
that was so cool.
I thought
what
that
it
was
is.
actually kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it was kind of.
I
It was
actually,
very strange to me.
despite me hating her, I actually think her design is pretty cool.
Yeah. She got like the short shorts on with the weird
I see why you
sweater,
liked
one
her.
sleeve thing. You better believe it.
I do like how she
to be
looks like
young
a
again.
kind of a sportier like type ninja. Like she has a headband. It's not like your typical like
Yeah.
generic ninja headband. And I like the tall boots and her weapons are so freaking cool.
I feel like I'm convincing you.
She's steadily rising on his list.
That's the thing. Like we touched on it before, but like even though she was so low for me, like I still like
Yeah,
her. Like this
yeah.
cast is just so
Right,
good. Except
It's
for
good.
Yeah.
Kate Sith is literally the only one that nobody likes. Like I said, I really hate Yuffie, but her character arc is at least interesting, and she's useful to the squad, to your
squad.
Your squad, yeah. But all right, so Vincent, this is our second round, like double discussion round, and that leaves it up for the final round being a triple discussion,
Yep.
which I'm excited
Oh,
for.
yeah.
There we go.
Wait, so did I?
We're
might
not
have-
done with. We haven't even started, Vincent. Let's not move on yet. We're gonna.
No,
Spend
no,
some time
I know we
here.
still have to talk about
Yeah.
Vincent.
So I think I might have had him the lowest. I had him at 7.
I think mine was 5.
Andrew, yours was 5, Kinsey's was 7, mine was 3, and Jamie's was 2.
Right.
Split the table here.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah, it's
proverbial
all
table.
over the place. So actually, I'm surprised you guys actually had Vincent so low. Why was he so low for you?
Well, I guess I'll go first because I am
Yeah.
the lowest. Aesthetically, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's cool
He's
looking.
just that red cloak, and like even though the pointy shoes are kind of weird, like he
right,
makes it
well-
work. I love the claw. I love the gun. I tried really hard not to take, and I think this is why he was so low for me. Was I had to take like Advent Children and Dirge of Cerberus like out of it because he is so cool in the movie and like
Yeah, he is.
in the Dirge of Cerberus he gets his own freaking game. But like in terms of this one, I was just like, okay, you find this uber edgelord, edgiest of all the edgelords, eye rolly level, like sleeping in a coffin, and he turns into like Frankenstein's monster and stuff. And I just felt like it was all very on the nose, and I wasn't all that invested in his story.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It
All
just
right,
it
hold
didn't
my
do it for me.
thumb.
I severely disagree with you on the story part. I can understand. I
so
can
as
understand
the
the
second
other stuff.
lowest here, I have to back up my fellow Andrew's opinions.
It's Andrews versus the Jays.
Exactly. A's v.
Jamie and
J's.
Josh.
A's versus J's.
Jays versus A's.
So I have to agree wholeheartedly. Everything about Vincent, I feel like they just tried way too hard with it.
And
Like,
succeeded.
the whole coffin thing, like he's the most out there character in the game. You literally have like ninjas, a space pirate, a weird robot thing, and he is still wildly out there with his claw
No,
and
Here
gun,
is
no,
why
no, no,
you're
no.
wrong.
vampirism, and he's also Frankenstein while being Dracula.
He was experimented on
can't
by.
be all
by
of
you.
it.
I get it. In theory, everything he is cool,
And it
but
all
it's
makes
way
sense.
Too much.
No, wait, no. He's a bio soldier for starters. That's why he's got the claw. That's why he does the transformations. That's why he's how many years old again?
lot.
He's fucking old, right? He's a bio soldier. That
Is
immediately
he
makes
older
him
than
awesome.
Sid, technically?
Yeah, he's.
Is he?
He's
I
older.
don't- I actually
Yeah.
don't
He's
know.
old.
He's like hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
I don't think he's 100.
I think he's 100.
I don't think it's
Well,
hundreds.
how
He's
long has
definitely-
Shinra been around?
Yeah,
It's a big ass company. It's been there for a while.
yeah. I don't think he's hundreds, but he's like the oldest character on your team. But he doesn't look it because he's a bio soldier who doesn't age.
Is he actually a vampire?
No, he's not.
No,
He's
he's
a
not.
bio
He just
soldier.
sleeps in a
make him
coffin.
look like it.
Yeah,
He
I don't-
sleeps in a
the coffin was
like
a little bit
vampire.
much. I didn't understand that.
Like
but,
you get him straight out of a coffin, and then he turns into
In a creepy
Frankenstein.
haunted mansion.
Exactly.
but it gives you that impression of what he is. He's a haunted soul.
They tried
He's
too
got
hard.
a dark past. He's biologically engineered to
Edgelord.
mutate into different things.
Here
He was
is-
a standard. He was a standard soldier. That's why he uses a handgun, right? He is a soldier with a purpose and a revenge. Like I love his story. I love his design. I love the limit breaks. I feel like the limit breaks are what makes people love or hate him because you lose control over him.
Yeah.
But if you know how to balance your team right, you just let him go fucking ham, and he just does the job for you.
Here's
feel
why.
like that. I mean,
here's
yeah.
why I love Vincent. One, I agree. I think visually he's the coolest looking character by far. But two, there's a glitch in the game, not a cheat. You don't have to enter cheat codes, but there's a glitch in the game where you can break the damage limit with Vincent.
Really?
Apparently, Barrett, you can do this as well. But there's a video essentially because one of his weapons, I think it's Peacemaker or something like that.
That's the second gun he gets.
Maybe it wasn't
Don't know
Peacemaker.
that.
I forget exactly what it does, but there's a way for you to glitch it so because I think there's something special ability with that one of his weapons where he, depending on what he has equipped or what he's done in a battle, it like multiplies the damage in a weird way. I have to double check this, but I've seen videos of it where they'll go up to Emerald weapon and one shot him, full health Emerald weapon.
dang.
He just goes, and it's the funniest thing because he just walks up, shoots, and Emerald starts tipping over, and you just hear, and he's like whipping the gun around and putting it back in his holster like an old West shooter. That's
awesome.
That's why he's my favorite character because you can literally break break the game with him and one shot the two toughest bosses in the game.
I guess that's like saying Loki from Final Fantasy VI is my favorite because he can kill Kefka one hit.
Can he?
Yeah.
It's
didn't
this
know that.
weird glitch where he
yeah,
just
it's not a
infinitely
glitch. It's not a
attacks.
glitch. It's just the right accessories and the right
Oh, yeah,
weapon.
there
That's
you
all
go.
it is. You have
It's
to
a-
earn it, but it's
They're-
still bullshit.
Final Fantasy games are so fun in the sense that there's a lot of things and almost all of them where there's a character that if you know how to build the character correctly or you know the battle mechanics well enough, you can break the game so bad. Sure. I know you guys all hate Final 8. But
I haven't given it a fair
in
shot.
Final
to be
8,
fair.
you
Let me
can-
tell you how it ends. It's terrible. Don't worry about
In
it.
Final 8, you can get this spell called Aura. And Aura, so normally to get your limit break or your special moves,
That's the spell
yeah.
that keeps you away from the game.
so in order to do that, you have to be at super low health, and all of a sudden, all your characters can do their limit breaks. That's pretty much it is. There's not a gauge that goes up. It's just you have a percentage chance, even when you're at full health, to get your limit break, and that percentage goes up the lower the health you lose. But if you cast Aura on all your characters, that chance goes up. So if you stock up on Aura by figuring out where the draw points are, or just using a strategy guide to find the draw points, but if you
like
get
a real
if you get a
gamer.
bunch of them, you can literally just cast it on all your characters and just rinse, wash, repeat limit breaks over and over and over again.
Yeah, but you know,
And
at that-
the best part is that it's not like it's good for one turn. You can literally just keep hitting circle, so that way it refreshes your thing and it just refreshes the chance. So like the menu for the character to determine what the character does on their specific turn, if you just keep hitting circle to like cancel it, it'll just go to the next character in your lineup, and if there is none, then it just goes back to your main character again. And then you can just keep doing that until this limit break appears, and all of a sudden you have your limit break, and then you win the game. It's
That's
super
busted.
broken.
Yeah, but that's like end game stuff too.
It is, but
Like,
I
you gotta try
love
for
I
it.
love in Final Fantasy that you can do that with almost every Final Fantasy game. If you know the mechanics of, if you understand the game's battle mechanics or the character mechanics enough, there's at least one character or one a strategy that you can do that just ruins the difficulty of the game.
Well, that's also.
But I
because we're
think-
playing an RPG. You
I
high
think
enough
that's
level,
really
you
fun.
win. Yeah, true.
Well, it's like, you don't even have to high
there's
enough
also
level.
that stuff.
Like you don't
yeah.
even have to be a high enough level. Like especially 8's super strange, where your power isn't based off your level; it's based off the material.
the amount of time you've wasted.
yeah, the summons and
What
the
I hate
spells
most
you have to with
about
it.
RPGs in general is just
Yeah.
grinding and like
Yeah.
just play longer and you'll be stronger. Versus like I typically play like action adventure games and stuff, so I'm like Ninja Gaiden, where it's just like be better.
Yeah,
That's all you gotta
Yeah.
do is be better.
Do better.
But anyway, so that more with Vincent. His story is pretty freaking awesome too. You don't like it. I don't understand that.
I didn't care for it either.
I just, again, I just felt
Because
like it
you're
was
so
kinda-
basic. That's
A
why.
little
You
bit.
want to steal shit. And there's nothing for him to steal.
I felt like his story was kind of basic. Like I don't know. I felt well. I mean,
Ripped apart, frozen love. Your life was taken from you because you were the bioengineered monster that was forced on you.
yeah.
I
maybe
feel like
it's
Revenge
so
against
on the nose.
another revenge person against Shinra. I mean, honestly, he could have been the next Sephiroth because he was right there on the line. The bio soldier, the first test subject of it. He could have been the big baddie if they tweaked his story and went that route.
I almost want to see that now.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be interesting.
But Vincent's too cool. And I also just want to
I
point
didn't
out
even
that
think about that. Vincent is the good Sephiroth. Like, not nearly as powerful, but like the idea that he would have been Sephiroth if it hadn't been for just some other circumstances.
right, he
Does
was
he refer to him like as his brother or something? Like
don't
at some point,
think
like,
so.
he says like he feels like a kinship with Sephiroth almost.
maybe. I have no idea. I
Probably.
can't remember that
Maybe
detail.
just
It's a safe bet.
I mean, it's also supposed to be like years before Sephiroth, so it's like super
Yeah.
early beta
Oh, okay.
alpha testing of like the bio soldier thing
Yeah.
before they find the Genova cells and start using those.
Yeah.
But no, Vincent's great, and I also just want to point out that not even the main character got a spin-off game. I'm just saying.
That's true. I mean,
Dirge of Cerberus was an amazing game.
unless you consider Zach Fair being the actual main character, because in a way,
Oh right, yeah, that
know
guy.
what?
Now we're
Know what
splitting
I-
hairs.
What is that? Crisis Core on
Yeah,
a
Crisis
subpar
Core.
system, right?
PSP's great. Well, sort of.
Yeah.
Know what I just learned actually this week? That there is, you actually see.
Oh, here we go.
You know, I didn't see this though. I never
All right,
got to this point. Stop judging me. Did you know how Zack actually dies in Final 7?
Not
Well,
off
on
the top
the
of my head.
on the ridge.
On the ridge. I
Yeah.
didn't know about that scene at all until literally like last week.
Oh really?
I'd never seen it.
Oh okay.
So you didn't know
I
about it
don't-
either.
I never
Yeah,
saw
I
it
don't
either.
remember
I
that.
know it because of like it's been shown in other media.
It was an Advent Child because that's how Advent Child starts. He's standing
Advent
on the
Children?
ridge. Children.
Yeah.
Where Cloud is standing on the ridge where Zack dies. That's why he's
Yeah, yeah,
standing
yeah.
See,
there.
that
Oh,
meant nothing to
okay.
me though. I
So-
had no idea.
It's weird. When I first got Advent Children, which is the sequel to Advent Child, that's the one that James Cameron.
There's more of them.
Yeah. James Cameron made it after the first one. Yeah. There's more than one this time. It's like aliens.
This time it's war.
So when I got Advent Children, I was showing it to my cousin who like had never played. Like he was really young at the time, so like when I don't think he was born when the game first came out. But I was like, okay, so on the Blu-ray or probably DVD at that point, there's a little like half-hour long video that's like it'll catch you up on the game. And so we watched that, and then they showed the Zack scene where he dies, and I was like, I don't remember this scene.
It's,
No.
and
So
you
why
are-
didn't- kill
so
me.
here's how. So
Yeah, I don't
the
remember
way it
that
happens
either.
is that that memory gets triggered in Shinra Mansion in
Okay.
Nibelheim, and Nibelheim. I don't know.
I already said Nibelheim.
Yeah.
Um,
I said Nibelheim.
so why would you go back there? Because so what happens is you already see you go there the first time through the game, like as you're progressing through the game, and you go through the whole story there. You go back to the reactor. You go back there later on again, I think, to get the big materia out of that reactor again. So you've gone down to Nibelheim twice throughout the game, right? First, just traveling through trying on Sephiroth's trail.
Mm-hmm.
The second time is after you know Sephiroth's story, you go back to get the big materia because there's like
So
what
you have to.
you have to
that
go.
scene?
You have to go. It's only after you trigger that scene. You have to go back a third time.
But it's
after
not like it's not part of the main story. So
Nope.
you can miss it.
You. Oh yeah.
Feel right
Okay,
to me.
so
You
I
can-
I definitely missed that scene then because I remember
Because
seeing
you
that.
have to go back to Shinra Mansion, back to the basement where the secret lab is at,
Yeah.
and then walk in, and then it triggers the memory of after Cloud kills Sephiroth in the reactor in the flashbacks, and you think Sephiroth's dead. Obviously, Zack ends up bringing because Cloud got impaled right before that, and he
Right, and
throws
threw him
Sephiroth,
off
Sephiroth with his own sword
Yeah.
off into the reactor. Zack brings him out, and they're trying to get back to Midgar.
Yeah, and all
then-
the soldiers are chasing him.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And so then they make it they hitch a ride, and you see a couple scenes with Zack talking to Cloud, and Cloud's just kind of all looped up because he was just stabbed by Sephiroth.
yeah, and thrown into the
And,
live stream.
And well, this was I think
not.
before this is before the live stream.
yeah. No, I'm thinking of way later.
Yeah.
So
I just
and
want to point it out there that I don't remember it being a hidden scene to me
it's a hidden scene
because you
So-
just talk to everyone and you go everywhere.
talk
and
to anyone
I,
to-
I never had to look it up. I didn't realize it was a hidden scene. I thought this was common knowledge to everyone.
no,
Yeah.
it's not part. It's a crime that it's not part of the main game.
I know.
It's a
because-
crime that you took an exploration game and didn't explore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Some place that you
That's how I
already
missed
explored
it.
twice before. Why
Well,
would you
I
go
mean,
back
you've
to it a
explored
third
twice
time?
before, then you see it.
Why would you go back?
memory and that-
Why would you go back a third time if you've already been there twice before?
Because you like the story.
Yeah, that's how I missed it.
But like to
I
me,
don't
it's
know.
like why would you go back? You've already explored that place twice over. There's no need to go through it a third time.
I normally
you shouldn't.
do.
You wouldn't think there would be.
I can't remember how I found it, but it just seemed like I honestly thought that was part of the story that everybody
yeah,
knew.
No.
Because I've
Josh, you're
seen
the
it,
first
yeah.
person that I've met that like missed that scene.
completely.
Yeah, exactly.
I
That's what I'm
missed
saying.
it.
Oh, you
I
did?
missed it.
Oh,
Well, you're not very observant, and you're
I
not
am
sure if you
not.
beat the game.
You lost me at stop
Jerry.
and talk to everybody.
Yeah, you talk to-
but if I can't steal from them, then what's the point?
Exactly.
Why am I
Where's
talking
their
to you?
materia?
How can they help me? They can't. I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
But like that scene, the fact that that scene is something that can be missed is a crime.
True.
Yeah, 'cause
Like,
it's a great scene.
It's a and it's fucking brutal for like even with the Final Fantasy, the crappy graphics at the time. Well, crappy to us now. Because it's not done in like the pre-rendered cutscenes. It's done in the in-game
In-game,
engine.
sure.
And the fact that you just see Zack like flailing on the ground, getting
well,
shot
some
numerous
boxes
times.
that resembles that.
So, yeah, some
Right,
boxes.
right,
that but that's
And some
still
sticks
like,
that represent guns. So.
I just remember when I watched that for the first time, literally earlier this week or maybe late last week. I was like, "That's fucking brutal."
Yeah, they're just like
That's the only
And they don't-
reason I wanted to play Crisis Core. That scene, I was like, "Oh,
Really?
All right, let's see him get killed again."
no, no.
That's crazy.
I loved it.
So I think that's a good spot to finish up with Vincent, though. Any other final things, Vincent, before we move on to our final round? It's definitely going to be a triple discussion round on this one.
Other than everybody else was wrong. And I was
Other
right.
than him being overrated.
Oh no! Don't open this. He was appropriately rated in my list.
All right,
so
I can
round
see the
one.
eyeliner starting to appear on Jamie's face.
Go home and get my Vincent claw out.
Kinsey, what is your number one?
Number one, as I said earlier, I am a Tifa stan. She is the best waifu for me.
All right. Well, that tells us everything you know why. He's number one.
All right, Andrew, you're number one.
That's why she was up there for me. But this is going to be all over the board for all four of us. My number one was Barrett.
Okay.
No, I can see that. He was a. Oh, he was
great.
We'll
he
get
was
into
great.
it. We'll
He was
get into
fantastic.
it.
Yeah.
Jamie,
My
your
number was
number-
obviously Cloud because he's the main character, and not just because he's the
Well,
main
hold
character.
on. We're
But for
going to
other
get into the
reasons.
discussion.
All right.
And then my number one is also Tifa.
Yeah.
Casuals.
That's what I said.
So
We know why somebody's buying the remake.
Andrew, I know you have a heart out, so let's really soon. So
Yes, Andrew, please leave. Kinsey, you can stay.
Okay. Kinsey, I know you have to leave really soon, so let's talk about Tifa first. I mean, it worked out that was the first. Well, technically, it would have been the last one mentioned because I was the one that brought it to 4. But let's start with Tifa, so that way you can get out your number one. We can
end it
I can
appropriately
agree
with
with
the best
you.
number
They
one.
can disagree with you, and we'll move on. So,
Okay, sounds good.
so Tifa, why is Tifa? Tifa's fucking awesome.
Tifa's great.
Yeah, she is amazing. Not for the reason that I'm sure everyone's
Uh-huh,
thinking, like,
uh-huh,
oh, big pointy
Oh,
titties.
yep.
Everyone's favorite.
That's how I know how Brawl
Watch out
Shapes
for
came
those
in.
pointy bits. No, so I love the archetype of what Tifa is, just like strong, loyal, like best friend character who like is not. I mean, the way that I got the impression was that like the game was kind of railroading you to like be in love with Eris, which maybe why maybe like glom onto Tifa more. I was like, no, she's your best
yeah, I
friend.
can see
I
that.
also agree because I never thought Cloud and Eris were whatever were going to be a good couple. I thought him and Tifa had the better chemistry
Yeah.
between the two.
No, they had good chemistry.
friends,
That's
they
why
made
they're
promise.
friends. You don't have to fall in love with your best friend from
You don't
child.
have to,
You
but
don't
it's
have
nice.
to, but it is a nice.
It's very
trope.
nice.
Nice. It sounds easy.
She has my again, like, not to get the flack that I'm sure I'm going to get. She has
Yep.
my favorite character design.
I'm sure.
Well, even if
I don't look. Dude, porn
She had
exists. I
huge,
can-
gigantic fists.
even if you take out them fangs,
The
she has a
internet-
cool like her overall outfit with like the
Suspenders.
suspenders with the white like shirt underneath.
I
it.
just like the elbow pad, the
elbow
one
pad.
elbow pad, and just like
Yeah.
just your bare hands
I-
beat the crap out
I
of
can
you.
tell you the exact reason I put her at number one. Her limit break. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, her limit. The
The
dolphin.
limit break is good.
Her limit break's great. The fact that it is, I mean, you can hit an enemy so many times. It's not quite as much as Cloud's Omni Slash. Like
Well,
that's
that's
insane.
that- you
Or
can't-
Sid's
yeah.
calling the missile strike down.
Yeah.
But like the fact that like I liked it because all of her previous limit breaks were included. Every other character, when you switch limit breaks, you lose.
Yeah.
Like you can only do the limit break for whatever. Like you get to choose between two.
Right, you
generally.
add
Yeah.
on.
She's like a fighting game character. It's just like the
Exactly.
combo gets longer every time.
Exactly.
This is surprising to me, Koval, because her limit break, you can probably look up a guide to get it, but the guide doesn't tell you how to use it. It surprises me that you can time attack it as well as you do to use it.
Rude.
I'm confused with how that's an insult.
He's
I
claiming
didn't
you have
think you
bad
could
reaction times.
Time attack at all.
What's that, Jamie? What? This is a weird insult because I don't know where it's coming from. I'm very confused.
Welcome to my brother.
Tifa's Ultimate was really good. Like, I liked it. It did add really well and everything, and it really did make you like actually work for it. But I don't know.
I love the one where she suplexes the guy.
Yeah.
just lifts him up. And just, brah. If she was in Final 6, she would totally suplex the Doom Train, just like you can with what's his face.
Saban?
Saban, that's what it is.
Speaking of things that I love that nobody takes seriously because of how sexualized they are, I love Dead or Alive as a fighting game. I think it's smoother and better than Tekken, which is going to get me a lot of hate. Sorry, Casey. But so, have you guys ever seen Dead Fantasy?
I have not.
It's so Monty owned the guy who made Ruby before he passed. Rip. He made this short series called Dead Fantasy, which was Dead or Alive characters fighting Final Fantasy characters.
Okay.
And one of my favorite characters from Dead or Alive Hitomi, who's also a very similar character to Tifa. They have a fight and they literally are putting like materia in and just beating the stuffing
that's
out of
cool.
each other and suplexing each other through mountains and stuff. And it's just amazing. Highly recommend. Look it up. Anyway.
I liked Tifa because I liked the fact that she was a brawler. I liked the fact that she wasn't like, even though they obviously made her design to be sex appeal, but the fact that her character wasn't that, like, it wasn't like
She's tough.
like
Yeah.
She runs a bar for God's sake
Right.
while taking care of children in the slums. She's a tough character.
well,
Absolutely.
and like Aerith, she looked really pretty and dainty, but she was a flirt. She flirted with Cloud a lot. I'm not saying that I don't like.
I don't know if I remember that.
I don't remember being a flirt.
I don't
She's
remember
she's
that.
definitely a flirt. I don't think now. I don't be clear. I don't doesn't mean that I think that she's a slut or anything like that. I just think that she like she
slut-shaming?
flirts.
People who flirt with
Sounds
sluts
like
got
it.
it.
That's
No.
what I'm hearing.
I'm just clarifying.
Also, don't try and wear dresses or use flowers.
Yeah, you sluts.
But like Tifa, her character design, that would be very easy for them to make that character for her. But she's not flirty. She's not like provocative. She's dressed that way, but her character's like she just beats the shit out
Her
of
character
people.
personality
and she's
is
very
correct. The
protective
design
of the
her
people that she
character
loves. Yeah,
is a little.
and she's very protective of the people that she loves, and like you can see, like she's the one that saves Cloud in the end of the game. When Cloud loses his mind, she's the one that brings.
That's
him
why
back
she
from the
makes a
brink.
really great best friend.
That's why I'm not saying
or
I love her
wife,
because
because that's what wives do for their partners.
that's my
What I'm saying.
Waifu numero uno.
That's what I'm hearing.
the last point that I have on Tifa is that like she is essentially the protagonist for a large chunk of the game, while Cloud is all paraplegic or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's true. That is true.
And like it's because of her that Cloud kind of comes back to.
She
his,
reassembles Cloud's memories for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's
Integral part of the story.
That's why I like her so much. That's the reason I put her at number 1 was because of how important she is to the story and the fact that I like her limit break and I like her as I like that she's a brawler. Especially I love it's not related to the game specifically, but in Advent Children, her fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
in
Absolutely.
the church is
Yeah.
fucking
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yep.
slamming through the pews like
And like
And a scheduled defeat. Like you had to show her off being amazing.
Yeah.
You play the cell phone, win music, and
Yes.
then no wait, the bad guy's got to do his thing to keep
Yeah.
the story going.
it was at that
Yeah.
moment that I changed my ringtone to that. Let me just because I really got to go. Let me say the only things I have to say about Barrett. real
Okay.
quick. Are
Go-
we okay
no,
to move
go
on?
ahead.
And then
Yeah,
you
no,
guys
no.
can.
Well,
Yeah, it's fine.
are you guys done with Tifa?
I'm done with Tifa.
I'm. She's the
right,
one thing I
then-
wanted to say about Tifa real quick is
Yeah.
that her character is really good. Her limit break's fun, but like overall, she had weak health and lower stats, and I didn't enjoy playing her as a character.
But it's not always just about.
It's not.
math.
And again, I just want to say she's a really great best friend. That would help a best friend out because it doesn't make as much sense for a lover. She can
you
just
friend
quit
zone
that
my
and go
wife?
somewhere else.
All right. So yeah,
All
I got it
Barrett.
retroactively, or I got like friend zoned through assimilation, like by association.
So yeah, finish. Like, tell your thoughts quick on Barrett and
Okay.
also on Cloud, and then
right.
and then we'll just say your goodbyes. Yeah, you can say your goodbyes, and then we'll continue on with the episode.
Okay,
Right.
So real quick, Barrett, I have the least to say about him. He had, I think, what was maybe my favorite story. Again, you don't get all of that much. Same with like Red and Sid. Like the whole thing with like when it's revealed that like Marlene's not even his daughter, which I mean you could probably guess by looking at them that he's not. But like
Yeah.
he's raising like his dead friends, and then the friend comes back and he's evil and he's gone crazy, and Barrett's like, but I was basically that too, and I'm not. I got blood on my hands, like that whole thing, and yeah. So I had him for number 2. He's so good.
He's a good character.
Slightly problematic racially.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, the fact that he's like,
I don't understand.
is this like what Japanese people think black people are? Like just big.
You mean
and burly
somebody
and-
who takes care of other people's children, even though they know it's not theirs, and somebody who uses a gun to defend their rights and beliefs?
well, it's like he's the guns.
Are
he's
you
big,
referring to
strong,
more?
swears a lot.
I would
No,
idea.
I don't think so. I think that it fits really well into the story that they're trying to tell between a corporation, like an American kind of point of view, a corporation taking over, pushing people into the slums, people fighting back. Barrett's the perfect person to capitalize.
Oh,
that.
he's a great character. I think the reason why I think the only thing I could see as problematic is the way they wrote his dialogue. I think his overall character is not problematic, if that makes sense.
No, I think his dialogue was right on because he comes on hard in the beginning of the game, hard.
But he's
a leader
also
of a-
he's a leader of a rogue,
and he
like,
doesn't know how to do it. That's why he steps down and lets Cloud be the leader, because
Yeah.
he's angry, he's upset, he doesn't know what to do. He just lost his team. He doesn't know how to fight back. He's just thrashing. And then after he loses, he just starts to become softer because he doesn't have to lead. He is upset, but somebody else is leading him, pointing him in the right direction. He even admits that he has no idea what he's doing.
That's why he was my number one favorite character.
He is cool.
He's a really good character. Like, I love Barrett. So Cloud, real quick, we can continue talking about Barrett.
Yeah,
in a
I
little bit.
really got to go. So, Cloud, I have him at 4. So, I mean, he's fine. Generic anime protagonist
Oh,
101.
that's disappointing.
I like I like his design. It's become iconic at this point. My favorite thing about him is the whole imposter complex thing with Zack. I think that's the most interesting thing they've done in a Final Fantasy or just any like protagonist game for in a real long time, and maybe not even
The
since
fact
then.
that he's a clone as well, a clone of
Yes.
Sephiroth.
Yeah.
But like a failed clone.
And that's
Is that
why he's
great?
number 1, because even though he's the main character, he has so many more interesting things about him than just being, I'm the guy who's going to save the world. It's like,
Yeah.
why?
But he's also that.
well, he's
But-
that, but he's
all right,
that.
but let's
yeah.
hold on. Let's table our discussion for him so Andrew can finish up. Or
Yeah.
Kinsey, sorry, Kinsey can finish up.
finish
Too
up.
many
Come on.
Andrews.
Sorry. I mean that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, Kinsey, thank you for joining.
Thank you very much.
I know you'll be you'll be out in a little bit when you hear this. So yeah, we'll continue our discussion then right now, I guess.
And we'll
You
just
guys
go
can talk
ahead and
crap
keep.
about me while I leave.
That's absolutely right. You can hear all the negative things we say about you after you go.
Oh, great. All right, I
man.
will end with a quick plug. We also have a little YouTube channel / podcast that you can find on all the podcast things called The Experience Point. It is
I didn't know you
THE.
started it as a podcast as well.
Yeah, I've just been uploading like the audio,
The
only
audio of it, okay.
onto Anchor, so it gets on Spotify and Stitcher and Apple iTunes and whatever. So it's just The Experience Point. It's THEEXP Point. Thanks.
All right, man. We'll see you later then.
Take it easy.
You got 4 minutes for you to get into a suit. Oh, you're fine.
Thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
It's hard not to talk about the terribleness of
Later.
the series.
To do the
All right, so I think we talked enough about Tifa. Andrew and I are in agreement. She was our number 1, but let's move on to the first person that was actually mentioned this round, which I want to say. I actually wrote it down. It was Barrett. Barrett was the first one to get all 4 votes in this round. So we talked a little bit about Barrett, and we mentioned about how good his story is. So Andrew, from your words, why did you put Barrett? As number 1.
So I think it was pretty much summed up already, my main points on why I liked him. So I'll just say he is this huge muscle-bound dude. He has a gun for a hand, and
I forgot it was grafted in too.
yeah. He lost his hand and he had to graft it in. I don't remember how. Like somebody was falling off a bridge or something.
It was Dine, his
Yeah.
friend whose daughter he's racing.
Yeah,
He
that
tried
guy.
to save Dine, and then when Shinra was shooting at him, it shot off his hand, and Dine fell supposedly to his death. You find out later he actually survived.
That was it. And so pretty much on opposite ends of my spectrum, you got Barrett in number 1 and then Aerith in like number 8. So you've got like the hippie archetype trying to save the world, and then you got Barrett the revolutionary trying to save the
The
world.
anarchist trying to save the world.
Exactly. Like that's how you get shit. That's how you get things done. Like Jamie was saying, like he was the leader of this little organization and it went completely awry and everybody died.
Right.
And he stepped
Yeah,
aside.
that was a good point in his life. Yeah,
It
that's
was
why
not.
he's the number 2, number 1 for you.
That's why he's my number 1, because he lost his team trying to save Midgar. And even after the team like died, he came right back and he's like, all right, I'm hooking up with these guys and we're going to save not just Midgar, but the world.
The planet. The entire
Exactly.
planet.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, he was number 4. I liked him as a solid character. Great backstory besides the revolutionary thing. But if you really stop and think about what he was trying to achieve in the beginning of the game, it was pointless. Like, their goal, their group was absolutely stupid. What were they doing? They're blowing up reactors. They're ruining everybody's lives in those sectors, which are going to clearly be easily rebuilt because you're fighting a corporation with a limitless amount of money. You blew up one reactor. They didn't care. You blew up a second reactor. They murdered all the citizens. Like, what you achieved is mass mayhem and mass murder. Yeah, you didn't drop the plate on the citizens in the slum yourself, but you achieved nothing by trying to destroy these reactors. Like he just was
Well,
misguided.
and that's why he's so defeated after that.
Oh,
He's
of
like
course.
he can't stand the fact that he feels that he caused this, even though you can't. It's not his fault of what Shinra's reactions were. It's because they decided instead of going after him, he was like, well, we're just going to take out everything that he loves and to try to destroy his entire home.
He was very well intentioned and he had the right idea, but just an absolute terrible plan, terrible execution.
No, execution was pretty good.
And that
Execution
done
got
twice.
everybody killed.
Hey, 2 for
and
2. They got
you know
the job
what?
done.
That makes sense though, because like you said, he admits later on, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably never should have been the leader of this. I was passionate about this and I wanted
Mm-hmm.
I needed to do something. And he went in with a half a plan and it went from there.
And that's why he's my favorite character in Final Fantasy VII. He's this muscle-bound dude, big old gun for an arm.
But he's probably like the most emotionally deep character, I would say, in the whole game.
He's raising somebody else's kid. He lost his best friend. Like, he's a great character.
He is. Absolutely. No, he's a great character. I'll agree with that. He's just not my top 3, but he is like
He wasn't
They're
like-
all
he's my
great
fourth
characters.
place alternative. Like when Cloud disappears, they put him right in.
Yeah.
Put him in the party. His story was great. I mean, he even stayed pretty relevant because he keeps on bringing up rebuilding Avalanche and doing this and doing that, and you know, he keeps that motivation going. He doesn't just like quit.
And admittedly, I could have swapped him out for my number 3. My number 3 was Vincent, and him and Barrett
dare
were
you
so
again.
close.
Vincent.
But like Vincent, I think Barrett is a more interesting character than Vincent, but I like Vincent more because I think his moves were a little bit cooler. Like, I wasn't taking just the effect that, like, I mean, it really, what I've loved about these lists so far is that everyone has, like, some characters we choose them more for their abilities and less because of their story, and other people we choose more for their story and less because of their abilities.
I like to think it's
It's
well
all
balanced.
general.
I like
It
to
is.
think the characters that are my top 3, Cloud, Vincent, and Sid, because I love their stories, I love their personalities, I love them, and then I also love their moves and how they're built, like everything combined. Like if I like Tiff is a cool character, right? But I don't know, that doesn't translate to me in gameplay, so I didn't really put her on there. Like I understand her character and I love and respect it, but it didn't translate to me while playing the game. So I was
See,
like,
I
nah.
used Tifa a lot in gameplay, like just because her limit break, like I said, was just so good. I just loved using, especially on boss fights, man. Oh my god, you just fucking wreck bosses with her limit breaks because you just chain up, and hell, if you didn't even care about getting the most damage out of it, just getting the hits on all of them, you. Because like the first couple are pretty easy to get. Like,
Sure, you
'cause
can't mess up.
they're pretty easy to get the yas on it.
Yeah.
And the later ones, it's all like they miss it and hits and misses and all this other stuff, and it's really, it makes it difficult. But if you really just time it right, I've gotten a couple where I got yas on all of them, and it's the most satisfying thing.
Sure, absolutely. But I don't know. I just like Sid. I never played for his limit breaks. I never was that impressed with him because he was always my caster. Put the black magic, put the white magic, put your summons. He's literally a piece of paper floating in the wind. But like his damage and his heal was phenomenal. And then you have Vincent, who's just an all around everything. You give him a couple support materia. You give him some damage materia, but like not too much because you don't want to take away from his physical gunshot, which is still pretty strong in the game too. And then you hit him up for a limit
He's
break.
also
in a
one of the
boss
only
battle.
ranged characters in the game, so
Him
Barrett's
and Barrett.
useful.
Barrett.
And they
Barrett-
don't have that many like actual ranged enemies. They have the
No,
one in the
they
very
don't.
beginning, and that is
They
it.
have that one boss fight, which is obnoxious as hell.
Yeah.
liked it.
I guess, is there anything else that we want to say about Barrett though? Like,
Well,
do you have more to say?
Here, I got one last point to make about why Barrett is better than Vincent.
Okay, you son of a bitch.
Go ahead.
So Barrett is a real character.
Ouch.
Like he.
What are you talking
Talking
Give me
about
your hand,
Vincent
I'll graph
lost
a
the
gun
love
in
of his
there.
life.
So let me explain.
All right, yeah.
So Barrett is a very real character. He's very. It's possible to see him in like the real world.
Sure, you can inflect that
you can-
pretty easy.
Yeah, you can make a very real bind with him. Like there's a good bond right there. And then Vincent is all over the place. Like he's the same kind of gun wielding, like kind of chaotic military kind of person, but Barrett is just, I think all around better than him. He's not like some crazy emo weirdo.
Ouch. No, but
No, it was a
you're not wrong, but I like Vincent's story. He's a basic soldier in Shinra. He goes through it. It's like somebody subscripting, yeah. And conscripting into the military. There you go.
conscripting.
Thank you.
There you
Don't
go.
Subscript to it. Conscripting to the military. He goes in. He does his time. He puts in his effort. He wants to serve his purpose. and then he gets shot. He gets used as an experiment. Like, it's not a better or worse background, but it's just a different type. They're both soldiers. They both believe in what they're fighting for. One person fought for Shinra. One person fought against it at two different drastic time periods, mind you, too.
Yeah.
And then just how it turned out, and then what's good for them. I mean, honestly, they're very similar because they both fight for someone they love. Vincent's trying to save somebody he loves, while Barrett's trying to protect the future of someone he loves.
Sure.
So they're very similar. Just Vincent does it with more style and class. That's all.
I do like Vincent more than Barrett, but I actually have to think. I agree with Andrew. Barrett has a better story, in my opinion. Like, it's got a more interesting character development. But let's move on. We saved
Who else do we have?
Cloud. Because we already talked
Let's
Tifa.
talk about that.
Now, it's
Let's
only
talk
fitting,
about
though, that we,
Cloud.
like, even though Tifa technically would have been the last one, because I would have been the vote to bring her into, like, number 4. But, you know, we talked about to Andrew, so Kinsey could get his, so Kinsey could talk about his favor before he left. But I think it's only fitting that the main character gets the final talk.
I agree.
Sure.
Or the final discussion. So, Jamie,
Number 1 over here.
why is Cloud number 1 for you?
Cloud's number 1, not because he's your main character of the story. Obviously he is, but he's interesting.
That definitely adds some points to it.
Yeah, he's just interesting character to me. You go in there thinking one thing. He's just a mercenary. He rolls in there. He's fighting for money. He's doing him, right? And as the story progresses, you realize that no, he's not just doing it for him. He's doing it because he hates Sephiroth. Why does he hate Sephiroth? He doesn't quite remember why he hates Sephiroth. Not clearly anyway, right? And then his priorities change. He goes from fighting for money to fighting for a person, and then eventually he evolves from fighting Sephiroth to fighting for a cause. And he's influenced by all the people around him, not because he's assembling the team himself, but because he keeps pushing forward in his own personal story. So Final Fantasy VII is Cloud versus Sephiroth, yes, but like it is his story to remember too. Like, and the most interesting thing is that it happened before he was even introduced. So much has happened before the game even starts to him that's so relevant to everything else. Like, his character arc is just interesting to me, and the fact that he wipes his memory. He is a clone, that he has to dive deep into recalling what actually happened. He assumed the personality of somebody else, even though he's a clone of somebody else. Like, it's deep and it's interesting.
Can you answer me this? If he's a clone, why is he childhood friends with Tifa? I still don't know how they meet.
Oh, well,
like prior to this. Like, I know all the flashbacks of how they meet in the reactor and how they kill Sephiroth there and all that stuff. But you also see flashbacks of Cloud and Tifa when they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
How is Cloud there if he's a clone? Like, where does he? Like, how does he get to Nibelheim first? Does anybody know?
It's been a while, but he was grown there. Like, you know, they go through the whole point where he grows up and goes back, and they have like test tubes of these creatures. No, you know what? I'm sorry. I take that back a little bit. He wasn't necessarily a clone, but he was injected. That's what it was. He was injected with the Genova cells.
Genova.
So he was a kid. He was his own kid.
But they say he's a clone, though. Or I guess he's a clone in the sense that because I think they made Sephiroth by injecting basically Hojo.
So I don't think there were any actual clones. That's my apology for using that term. I apologize, everyone. It's been a couple of years since I've played
You don't actually think there's any clones, even though they call them clones.
I don't know if they're clones. They're just soldiers. And
They say
people
Sephiroth clones in the game, though.
Yeah, they're Sephiroth clones. But the idea is that he himself has the Genova cells, and they all have the Genova cells. And that's why they're all fucked up and stuff. Because,
Do you think they're clones in the sense that they weren't cloned from Sephiroth, but like the experiment with Sephiroth was a success, and so because of that, they tried to do other things like Sephiroth, and then all the people that like.
I think it's been so long. I forget all those like little nuanced details.
That's always been the most confusing part of the plot for me.
No,
It got definitely pretty vague.
It's because it's all at the very end of the game. At the end of the game, you're just like going through. You're like, oh wow, that's really cool. All right, let's go fight that boss.
They do a lot of exposition really fast.
Yes, they do.
And it's like a good like hour long, like little hour and a half long dive into it with no combat, which was a really great story. But you know, you just kind of get past it. But no, it's all about Genova cells, finding Genova, injecting them into soldiers. That's why everybody's eyes are green with Mako energy. They inject some Genova, they inject some energy, which actually I think that just turns into just saying it's not just Mako energy, but it's just Genova cells. And that's what makes Sephiroth so strong. He was a great soldier by himself, and then he has the Genova cells, and then Cloud has the Genova cells, and all all the creatures in Black Cloaks also have the Genova cells. They all speak to each other. They all are called to each other, really.
And all because they have Genova cells is how they all kind of have that reunion thing in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Exactly why.
So I guess they're clones in the sense that they did the exact same things to them that they did to Sephiroth, hoping for the same result.
Yeah, they
And
did.
then
They tried making more
But it wasn't
Sephiroths.
like they took Sephiroth and they're like, oh, this was a success. Let's put him in a chamber and clone him. Which I guess kind of makes sense, I guess. I don't know. It just clones to me is like you put something in a chamber and you clone it. You know, like some test tube chamber.
This is just taking
thing,
people and
bullshit
injecting
thing.
them with Genova cells, hoping to make
more
more super soldiers.
experimentation than actual cloning.
And I like one of my favorite things that they call Genova. Genova was a calamity that fell from the sky. It's one of my favorite choices in localization. It wasn't like a meteor,
Right.
or I mean that's essentially what it was. It was a meteor, but they called it a calamity because it did something to the planet.
Bioorganism that just literally fell and hit that particular Earth. That's all it was, just by chance. That's all it was.
And then I guess because Sephiroth was born from one of the last remnants of the ancients, or the Cetra. I think Aerith's mother too, right?
Yeah, she was.
I think it was Aerith's mother, and Hojo impregnates her, and then because Hojo's the father of Sephiroth, Hojo impregnates her, which is still weird to me because Professor Gast, which was Hojo's predecessor and mentor, seemed really nice to to Aerith's mother. You know,
right.
I forget what her name is off the top of my head.
That's fine. Yeah, she's only in it for a little bit up in the mountains. They go through like the recordings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but you're right. So Cloud is a clone. To get back to Cloud, he's a clone of Sephiroth. Well, he's
injected with the
Genova cells like Sephiroth, so he's a clone of him. That's so confusing.
Well, that's from the Advent Children movie. Like that's how Sephiroth comes back, because the Genova cells mutate and form into him. That's what it is.
Yeah,
they pretty much come alive and just mutate into being him. So it's Sephiroth is a combination of who he was as an ancient with the Genova cells, the calamity in him, and then the movie kind of gets weird about morphing into.
Yeah,
him
that
being
got weird.
Yeah, but that's the essential thing, is that Cloud was a kid injected with the cells, right? He just went through his entire life. He became a soldier and got the Mako energy.
Do you think that's when he was injected with the cells once he went for soldier?
I think so. Yeah, that's it. That was the soldier program, because the soldier program gives everybody the Mako energy, or Well,
it doesn't give everyone Genova cells, but it gives everyone Mako energy.
Right.
And then he might have been in the experiment to be like, well, let's inject more people with Genova cells because it worked for Sephiroth.
Probably.
And he was one of the failed experiments.
Yeah, because you know what? I'm really starting to think, I'm starting to piece the memory back together, that after Zack dies, they do capture Cloud on the ridge, and they bring him into Shinra, and they torture him and wipe his memory and do stuff to him.
That's how he lost his memory. And so
Right.
Zack is there with him, and they break out of the test tube chamber, because that's a major thing. So after he kills Sephiroth, they bring him and Zack in. They put them in the test tube chamber.
Zack dies. Zack
doesn't die in the reactor, though.
Yeah.
Zack is the one. Him and Cloud break out of the
facility,
out of the Shinra mansion in Nibelheim. And this must mean nothing to anyone who's not played the game.
It's been a super long time since I played it, and I know that Crisis Core goes over all those details, but he was just a regular kid who did want to be in Soldier, and
or who wanted to be in Soldier, but
he
couldn't make it.
And then he grows. Yeah, he couldn't make it. He was a basic soldier.
But that might make sense why he has Mako in his eyes, though, because they experimented him. After he got captured, they
Right. He
experimented
never
on
made.
him.
That's right. So I'll come back and when we talk about it.
Oh,
Anyway, his arc is really interesting, and that's why he's one of the best characters, because it's so in depth. Let alone the big fucking Buster Sword, which is super cool, and how you can tank him out so well in game with materia. You give him
He's
the
the
HP
best.
plus, the counter, the guard, and then he guard counters. He's just the best character.
He's, in terms of play, he is by far the best character.
Obviously.
He has so much, and the fact that you can get Omni Slash. I know they give you Omni Slash for the final fight against Sephiroth,
You can gamble for
but
it.
you can get it beforehand.
Takes a lot of time.
Oh, it's so fucking obnoxious. You just go into the battle arena,
Yeah.
and then you can only
Yep.
use items, or I think you can use items, and
Well, you can use everything, but then over time it takes it away from you.
yeah, it takes it away from you. And on top of that, if you leave the battle arena, you lose all the points you've accumulated.
No,
So you have
if
to go.
You can leave it and take your points, but if you lose,
No. If you leave the battle arena, you lose all your points. You can't leave the battle arena area. You
I don't remember because I never tried for it. I
Oh,
don't
it's
care
not.
enough.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not outrageously hard to get. It's just obnoxious because it's a lot of points, and really, I think you have to play through it like 3 times, like through the battle arena like 3 times to get Omni Slash.
no, you got to play through it a lot. The Omni Slash is a ton of points.
And it's definitely worth it. Like especially the final forms beforehand. Like when you get to, I forget all the different. I used to remember all the names of Sephiroth's like forms and everything.
I don't.
No. Oh, God,
But
no.
essentially the second to last one, the really tough one where he actually calls what is it? There's a move where he pretty much has a meteor strike you, like strike you through,
yeah.
and it's the most obnoxiously long cutscene because it's literally a meteor going through literally all 9 at the time planets of the solar. Well, not all 9, but the planets of the solar system. It bursts through Pluto, bursts through
Yeah, it destroys
Jupiter,
everything.
bursts through like Saturn and
I think it was
everything.
Meteor.
It was. I
think
think
so.
it was mean. It was so obnoxious
Oh,
though.
yeah,
It
yeah,
took
yeah.
so that cutscene took so fucking long.
It's
So
cool.
the faster you could beat him, the better.
Yeah,
and not only because I think he had a move that like reduced all of your party to 1 HP, so you had to be super diligent on the heals.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about the RPG games is that, like, even the M bosses, all it is just keeping up with them. Make sure you got a dedicated healer, make sure everybody's at the top, make sure you got damage going out. Like,
But
it's just,
Omni Slash just makes that so much easier to deal with.
Yeah. No, you know.
And Knights of Round if you decide to go with all the chocobo
hated
breeding.
that.
Honestly, if you ask me, the game, the M boss, Sephiroth and Genova at the end of the game were easy enough. Like, you just keep your guys up to full health and just don't give them too much
Yeah,
material that
it
takes
wasn't.
their health away.
They weren't that hard. It just makes it laughably easy. Especially
well,
so if
yeah.
you get Knights of Round, you can literally beat the first form of Sephiroth and just by casting it once. Sure.
I never actually liked the summons. I thought they were most annoying things.
They were way too time consuming.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree.
And Knights of Round was the longest one.
Yep.
It was the coolest one to look at, but it was the longest one.
Yeah.
But all right, any final thoughts on Cloud? I think we've actually talked a lot about his whole backstory.
Sure.
Yeah.
We even mentioned part of it when we talked about Tifa, how when Cloud loses his shit and both him and Tifa fall into the live stream and she helps piece back together his memories, and then he's back to normal after that. What I will say about this is that I do like Cloud's, the way his storyline wraps up. I'm not even talking about beating Sephiroth. I mean, like the moment he comes out of the live stream and everything's back together, it's very satisfying because now you feel like you understand the story, even though
Moving
you
forward
don't.
and
But
everything.
overall, they've explained everything you need to know about the story up until that point. You may not understand it all, but they've explained it all to you.
I just
Yeah.
can't remember. I have to go back and look it up. But the only thing I just remember, I think he was a normal kid who enlisted in soldier, was injected with the Mako energy, and then he went as a basic soldier. He tried making it into soldier. He couldn't. He fell back into a basic Shinra grunt. Went through that whole episode of trying to protect Zack and his town and everything, embarrassed. And then everything with Zack happened. And I think he got captured.
Him and Zack got captured because
Right.
I still remember that. I remember watching that.
Right,
cutscene
and
last
then
week.
and then that happened to him where he actually got injected with the stuff. They broke
I
out.
mean, we
made it
are
to
technically
Midgar.
assuming. I didn't see it in that cutscene, but it would make the most sense. That's when he would get injected with the Genova cells.
Right, and then he gets makes it a Midgar, gets abducted, he gets beaten and tortured. Really, his memory is all wiped. They realize that they acknowledged he was a failed experiment and he was pretty much worthless and nothing, and they just let him go after wiping his memory. And that's it. Yeah, and then the whole game starts, and then it's a big like loop circle to figure everything out that happened.
So I guess to kind of like we're not wrapping up 100%, but we're pretty much close. We've gone through our list. We've talked about all the characters. One thing I want to say before I did actually average out everything. So, but one thing I want to say before I list out all the averages, I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed recording this, and not just for everyone who was here, but it was really cool breaking down these characters in ways I hadn't really thought of. So it was really fun to hear everyone's opinions, and the lists were like varied enough. Like I love that our final round was a full-on triple discussion. It was, I mean, we never quite got to a quadruple. That would have been awesome, but we got to a triple discussion, which was cool.
So do you want us to go and tell obviously our 1, 2, and 3 is our favorite characters.
Oh yeah. So what was your go-to party for Final 7?
My go-to was both Yuffie and Barrett.
And Cloud.
And Cloud?
Well, I mean,
of course,
sure.
yeah, by default, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's yours, Jamie?
Mine is right from my list too. It's just Cloud, Sid, and Vincent.
So you went Cloud, Yuffie, Barrett, Cloud, Sid, and Vincent.
Mine's a standard team. It's just that heavy tank Cloud with a health increase.
Heavy magic, Sid.
Heavy magic Sid, and then bag of tricks
Wild
Vincent.
card, Vincent.
That's right.
The utility character.
That's right. All you gotta do is keep him alive and he'll do the job.
Let him do his thing.
I did get Kinsey's. It was Cloud, Sid, and Tifa. Mine actually, and I only did this because this is what my friend did. I was like, well, if that's my friend's party, I got to do that as well for mine. It was, and I actually would change it now, but my original one was Cloud, Red 13, and Tifa. I had actually changed it now to Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa, like the classic three. I like Barrett's limit breaks a lot, and I like his character. I like his. he gets really powerful later on. I do think it's kind of weird. He gets some weird add-ons. We didn't even talk about this when we talked about Barrett, but one of his weapons is he takes the gun off his arm and you get like this mace that he just kind of slams it down this awkward club.
It's a fun character.
Yeah,
He is. So the average for all of it, I took all of our answers and I averaged them together. Anything that was tiebreakers, I would basically say. So, for example, Yuffie actually ended up being a tiebreaker with Aerith, but because Yuffie was mentioned last, particularly by Andrew,
with Aerith.
Yuffie would get Yuffie got the higher ranking than Aerith. So here's what I did.
Sounds right with the rest of the world.
Everything was assigned a point value.
Start
1
from the
through
bottom
9
up.
points.
I want to hear this.
Everything was assigned a point value 1 through 9 points. So the number 9 position was only worth 1 point because that was the worst.
Of course.
And the number 1 position was worth 9 points because that was rated the highest,
Fair
right?
enough.
So coming in at number 9 overall by all of our ratings, we have Kate Sith.
Yeah.
Sounds
No
right.
surprise.
100% correct.
Only with 4 points. Number 8, it came in. I can't even read my own writing.
That's impressive work.
That is terrible. That is horrible. Hold on. It is Aerith.
Yeah, that
number
sounds right.
8
Good.
is
Yeah,
Aerith.
she deserves it.
I mean, I put it up a little higher, but that's
Numbers. Aerith has 14 points. Number 7 is Yuffie with 14 points.
Whoa.
I'll tell you what, that's a shock to me because I
Oh,
thought she was
man.
going to be second to last.
But the
entire time.
reason Yuffie was so high is because Andrew here put up. So, like, for
Disappointing.
Breaks
example,
my heart.
the highest on the list
You don't have
Aerith got was number 5. That was the highest Aerith got. The highest on the list that Yuffie got was number 2. So that's
Okay.
why that was a
All right.
tiebreaker.
I should have made her my number 1.
One squeeze.
For number 6, we have Red 13.
Sounds
Red
right,
came
too.
in with a total of 15 points, just barely edging out Yuffie and
That's a
Aerith.
damn shame.
No, I'll
He's
tell
a
you
good
what,
character.
he's a cool character, but that sounds exactly correct.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I think he deserves that spot.
Number 5, the dead middle. So 4 below, 4 above is Sid. Sid came in with 22 points.
Which is funny to me because I have him on my team. Kinsey had him on his team as far as like top 3. I expected him to be higher,
Then number 4 is Vincent.
which is disappointing. Should have been number 2,
Overrated.
but I'll take it. Better than you.
Vincent had 23 points, so just slightly above Sid. Number 3 is Barrett with 29 points.
Okay, I can live with that.
Fine.
Number two is Cloud with 29 points.
Still weird to me, but all right.
And number 1 with 30 points was Tifa.
I'll tell you what, Kobo. I think that if you had a more diverse panel instead of just all gentlemen, we have ourselves a different.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was the Andrews over here agreeing with everything the whole time, and the 2 J's mostly agreed.
That's true.
But no, that kind of wraps up our ranking, though. I want to give a quick shout out to the way this whole ranking, like the system that we use. It's actually from a podcast I listen to called James Bonding. They don't know, they've never heard of me. They're a really big time podcast, but I love their ranking system, so I want to make sure I give them credit for it. I don't want to say I took credit for this ranking system, but I really like how this works, because then there's a lot of discussion rounds and anger and bitter in the non-discussion rounds.
There's no bitter. There's just right and wrong.
Yeah, there's
we go.
right in there's Jamie.
Yeah, so this has been a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to want to do more of these rankings. It was also fun because it was something that didn't require a whole lot of prep. It was just like a game that everyone knew pretty intimately, and we could just go on and pick some of our favorite aspects of it. So this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a great time.
Yeah, so do you guys have any any like plugs or anything you want to like shout out on social media or anything like that? I'm assuming no, but I always like to ask.
No, not for me.
No, I don't. But as always, if you want to talk about anything else, your listeners can always let us know. I'm always looking for multiplayer games to play. I can always sit on more Final Fantasy or other games too.
And I think that should, well, I definitely will have to have you on for more episodes, but I think that should wrap up this episode. So, Andrew, Jamie, thank you for joining me. Kenzie's not here, but thank him anyway for joining.
You'll listen to this.
He'll listen to it. This will actually go up a week, so it's this is probably one of my shortest turnaround times in a while. A lot of my recordings have been super far in advance.
Right.
Good. That should do it. As usual, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at StillLoadingPod on all of them. You can also email me, stillloadingcontact@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. You could go to iTunes, well, not iTunes, Apple Podcasts now, or any other podcasting app that you use and just give the show a 5-star rating and write a review. It helps for the show to get recognized by more people and helps advertise the show on those platforms. Or you can check out the Patreon, patreon.com/stillloadingpod. Even just $1 a month will help me grow the show so I can do more with it. Shout out to the Podbeard Network that I'm a part of, podbeardnetwork.com. You can check out all the great shows on there. And that should do it. So, Jamie, Andrew, I know I already said thank you, but thank you for one last time.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
And that'll be all. So I will see you all next time.